Florida is famous for its sun, beaches, and tourist resorts, but beneath the palm trees and neon lights, a darker side lurks. Among its historic hotels and grand resorts, some guests never sleep alone. Tonight, we journey into 25 of Florida's most haunted hotels, where guests wake up scratched, shadows creep along the hallways, and ghostly figures wander the rooms long after checkout. From coastal inns to historic urban hotels, these places hide stories of tragedy, betrayal, and restless spirits. As we step into the lobbies and climb the staircases, remember, the past never truly leaves these walls. The creaking floorboards, flickering lights, and whispers in the dark may be more than imagination. They may be the spirits of guests who never left. The Don Cesar Hotel, perched on the pristine sands of St. Pete Beach, Florida, is a landmark unlike any other. Its distinctive pink facade gleams under the sun by day, drawing tourists and visitors eager to experience its elegance and history. But as evening falls and the bright lights dim, a different side of the hotel emerges, one whispered about among staff and longtime guests, a side shrouded in mystery and tales of the paranormal. Known as the Pink Palace, the Don Cesar has a reputation that extends far beyond its luxurious rooms and oceanfront views. Over the decades, countless reports have surfaced of ghostly figures, unexplained sounds, and eerie occurrences that hint at a restless presence lingering within its walls. Many of the hotel's hauntings center around its long corridors and grand staircases. Guests and staff alike have reported seeing shadowy figures roaming hallways, sometimes disappearing around corners or vanishing entirely when approached. These apparitions are often described as wearing vintage attire, reminiscent of the hotel's early years in the 1920s. Some seem to pace the halls endlessly, as though retracing steps from long ago, while others are seen standing motionless, their attention fixed on some unseen event. Witnesses often describe an overwhelming sense of being watched, a feeling that someone or something is observing their every move. Auditory phenomena are common at the Don Cesar. Many guests report hearing ghostly laughter echoing through empty corridors, the sound light and melodic, yet chilling in its isolation. Others hear soft whispers, the murmur of voices just beyond comprehension, or the distant clinking of glasses, as if a party from decades past is playing out behind closed doors. Some staff members have described hearing footsteps echoing in hallways where no one walks, or the faint rustle of skirts and coats moving across polished floors. These sounds are often accompanied by sudden chills or cold drafts, inexplicable in the warm coastal air, giving the sensation that the hotel itself is alive with memory. Physical encounters have also been reported. Guests have woken to find scratches on their arms or legs, subtle yet distinct, as though an invisible hand had brushed against them during the night. Some have felt a sudden pressure on their beds, a weight that lifts as quickly as it arrives, leaving an unsettling emptiness. Objects occasionally move without explanation, doors left ajar that were previously closed, glasses shifted on tables, or personal items slightly displaced. These experiences, while startling, are not typically violent. Instead, they carry the weight of presence. The undeniable sense that the Pink Palace harbors spirits who remained tied to the hotel long after their physical lives ended. The Don Cesar's history offers clues as to why the hotel is so active with paranormal phenomena. Opened in 1928, the hotel quickly became a playground for the wealthy, hosting lavish parties, social gatherings, and celebrations along the Gulf Coast. Its reputation attracted celebrities, socialites, and travelers from around the country. However, its history is also marked by tragedy. Fires, accidental deaths, and wartime occupations left scars that may have imprinted themselves on the building's energy. Paranormal researchers suggest that the intensity of human emotion, joy, grief, excitement, and sorrow can linger in environments where it was concentrated, creating residual hauntings that replay in subtle yet undeniable ways. Guests and investigators have often reported simultaneous phenomena. While walking down a hallway, one might hear ghostly laughter echoing ahead, catch a glimpse of a shadowy figure at the end of the corridor, and feel a sudden cold draft sweep past. In suites, the sensation of being touched or watched occurs alongside unexplained noises or flickering lights, creating a layered experience that blends the sensory with the spectral. Witnesses frequently describe a mixture of awe, unease, and fascination, struck by the juxtaposition of the hotel's luxury and the eerie reminders of its past inhabitants. Many of the hotel's spirits appear residual rather than interactive. Shadowy figures repeat actions from decades ago, pacing the halls, standing on balconies, or gesturing toward a bygone guest or party. Others appear more aware, lingering near doorways or peering through windows as if observing current events, only to disappear when noticed. This combination of residual and conscious presence gives the Don Caesar a dynamic haunting, where the past and present coexist, and the boundaries between the living and the dead feel thin and permeable. Despite its haunted reputation, the Don Caesar continues to welcome guests with elegance and charm. For some, the tales of ghostly encounters add to the hotel's allure rather than detract from it. Visitors often recount their experiences with a mix of fear and fascination, feeling privileged to witness fleeting glimpses of history preserved in spectral form. The Pink Palace's hauntings, with their blend of visual apparitions, auditory phenomena, and tactile encounters, serve as a reminder that the stories of those who came before are never entirely forgotten. The Don Caesar Hotel remains a place where luxury and the supernatural intersect. Shadowy figures roam halls, ghostly laughter echoes through empty corridors, and subtle physical interactions leave their mark on those who visit. The building itself seems alive with memory, preserving the joys, sorrows, and routines of its past guests. For those who wander the Pink Palace's grand corridors after dark or linger in its suites, it becomes clear that the Don Caesar is more than a historic hotel. It is a repository of lives long gone, a space where the echoes of the past continue to replay, and where the spirits of its former visitors remain ever present. Haunting the halls of the Pink Palace, Hotel Galvez, perched along the Gulf Coast in Galveston, Texas, is a historic landmark that has long captured the imagination of locals and travelers alike. Built in 1911, the hotel was intended to be a beacon of luxury and elegance, a place where visitors could escape to the salty air and sandy shores while enjoying the opulence of a grand seaside resort. Over the decades, it has hosted countless guests, from families on vacation to socialites seeking refined entertainment. Yet beneath its polished marble floors, ornate woodwork, and grand chandeliers, Hotel Galvez has cultivated a reputation steeped in mystery and whispered tales of the supernatural. For more than a century, visitors and staff have reported strange occurrences, from shadowy figures pacing deserted corridors to icy cold spots in otherwise warm rooms. The most frequently reported phenomena involve shadowy figures seen throughout the hallways and public spaces, and a hat with a wide brim who appears at the edge of a room or peering through slightly ajar doors. This figure is often described as restless, moving along hallways or scratching lightly at doors and walls, as if trapped between the present and the past. The presence of these shadows is often accompanied by a profound sense of being watched, an eerie awareness that unseen eyes are following one's every move. Auditory experiences at the Hotel Galvez are equally haunting. Whispered conversations drift through empty corridors, faint and fragmentary, sometimes repeating phrases that seem to belong to long-ago conversations. Footsteps echo along polished floors where no living person walks, the subtle rhythm of hurried movements or lingering pauses that vanish when one tries to follow them. Doors may creak or slam without any visible cause, and distant knocks can be heard on walls or wood paneling, leaving guests to wonder whether they are alone. Some have reported faint laughter echoing through suites or hallways, light yet chilling, reminiscent of celebrations and social gatherings that once filled the hotel's grand ballrooms. Physical manifestations also occur, often unexpectedly. Visitors have felt sudden, localized drops in temperature, cold spots in the middle of otherwise warm rooms. Some report the sensation of a brush against their arms or shoulders, or the faint trace of fingernails scratching along walls or doors. leaving no visible marks but creating an unmistakable sense of touch. Objects sometimes appear slightly moved or displaced, adding to the impression that unseen hands remain active in the hotel. These experiences, though startling, rarely evoke overtly malicious intent. Rather, they convey a presence lingering, echoing, and replaying memories from a time long past. The Hotel Galvez's history provides insight into why it may be so active with paranormal phenomena. Since its opening, it has been a site of both joy and tragedy. Guests have celebrated weddings, anniversaries, and holidays in its grand halls. Yet the hotel has also weathered hurricanes, deaths, and accidents. Employees and local historians suggest that such intense emotional imprints, moments of elation, fear, or grief, may linger in buildings, creating residual energy that manifests in shadow figures, sounds, and physical sensations. The woman in vintage attire, often cited by witnesses, may represent a lingering memory of the hotel's earliest guests, her presence tied to events long forgotten by the living. Visitors often experience multiple phenomena simultaneously, creating an immersive and unsettling environment. While walking along a dimly lit corridor, one might hear faint footsteps approaching from behind, see a shadowy figure at the far end, and feel a sudden cold draft brush across the room. Doors may creak in rhythm with the movements of unseen figures, and whispers drift through spaces that should be silent. The layering of visual, auditory, and tactile experiences creates a heightened awareness of the hotel's past, leaving a sense that the building itself preserves and recalls moments of life long gone. Despite the unnerving nature of these encounters, the hauntings of the Hotel Galvez are often described as melancholic rather than threatening. Shadowy figures move in repeated routines, retracing steps or peering through spaces as if caught in loops of memory. Guests frequently report feelings of awe, fascination, and sometimes sorrow, as though witnessing fragments of lives that continue to linger within the hotel's walls. The spectral presence adds a layer of depth and history, transforming the hotel from a mere building into a living archive of human experiences and emotions. The architecture and setting of the Hotel Galvez enhance its eerie atmosphere. Grand hallways, ornate staircases, and high ceilings provide spaces where shadows stretch and flicker, while the coastal winds create drafts that seem to carry voices from distant times. Sunlight filtering through large windows can cast strange, shifting patterns that momentarily animate empty corridors. Even the scent of the hotel hints of aged wood, salt air, and faded perfume evokes a sense of memory, making the presence of unseen figures all the more palpable. Hotel Galvez remains a place where the past and present coexist in tangible ways. Shadowy figures roam halls, ghostly whispers drift through corridors, and sudden cold spots remind visitors of the hotel's layered history. The woman in vintage attire, scratching at doors and walls, whether a residual echo or a conscious presence, embodies the connection between memory and place. For those who walk its hallways late at night or linger in its quiet corners, the Pink Palace of Galveston becomes more than a historic hotel. It is a repository of human experiences, a space where the spirits of guests long gone continue to wander, watch, and replay the stories of their lives, bound forever to the Hotel Galvez. The Vinoy Renaissance Hotel, a landmark of elegance and history in St. Petersburg, Florida, is renowned for its grand architecture, sweeping ballrooms, and luxurious accommodations. Built in 1925, it has welcomed generations of travelers seeking the charm of its Mediterranean revival style and the gentle breezes of Tampa Bay. Yet beyond the opulence and sunlit terraces lies a side of the Vinoy that is whispered about among guests and staff alike, a side steeped in mystery, where shadowy figures roam the hallways, unexplained cold spots chill rooms, and objects move without cause. Over the years, numerous accounts have emerged of paranormal activity that continues to captivate both visitors and paranormal enthusiasts. One of the most unsettling reports involves guests waking to find unexplained scratches on their arms, legs, or shoulders. The marks appear overnight, often after a deep, undisturbed sleep, leaving no evidence of physical contact or accidental injury. Those who experience this phenomenon frequently describe a tingling sensation beforehand, as though an unseen presence brushed against them. While the cause remains unknown, many attribute these mysterious scratches to restless spirits lingering within the hotel, their energy manifesting in subtle, physical ways that bridge the gap between the living and the unseen. Hallways at the Vinoy have their own reputation for ghostly activity. Visitors and staff alike have reported fleeting shadows moving along corridors, often at the edge of vision, vanishing when approached directly. These figures are typically indistinct, sometimes humanoid in shape, and appear to drift rather than walk, giving the impression of movement unbound by gravity or ordinary time. Some have described these apparitions as dressed in vintage attire, reflecting the fashions of the hotel's early decades, while others appear as dark, featureless forms. The shadows are often accompanied by the sensation of being watched, a subtle pressure on the skin, or the faint scent of perfume, tobacco, or cologne long since departed from the world of the living. Doors and windows within the Vinoy also behave mysteriously. Guests frequently report doors slamming with no wind or mechanical cause, often in the quiet hours of the night when the hotel is still. Sometimes, doors creak open by themselves or appear slightly ajar after having been firmly closed. The timing and nature of these events suggest that the hotel's spirits are not merely residual but possess a degree of awareness, interacting with the physical world in subtle, yet undeniable, ways. Auditory phenomena are common throughout the Vinoy. Footsteps echo along marble floors and polished corridors where no one walks, often matching the rhythm of a passing guest, yet vanishing as soon as someone attempts to locate the source. Whispered voices, indistinct but undeniably human, drift through empty hallways, sometimes repeating fragments of conversations from long ago. Guests have reported hearing soft laughter emanating from ballrooms long after events have ended, or the faint rustling of fabric, as if invisible figures glide past them. Even in guest rooms, unexplained sounds, doors tapping, the clinking of glass, or subtle scratching noises can create the impression that one is not alone. The history of the Vinoy Renaissance contributes to the depth of its hauntings. Since opening in the 1920s, the hotel has hosted countless celebrations, parties, and social gatherings. It has witnessed joyous events like weddings and banquets, as well as sorrowful occasions, accidents, and deaths. Paranormal researchers suggest that intense human emotion can imprint upon a building, leaving behind residual energy that persists long after the individuals have passed. In a hotel as storied as the Vinoy, the echoes of such emotions may take shape as shadowy figures, unexplained noises, or physical interactions with the living. Visitors often report layered experiences where multiple phenomena occur simultaneously. A guest walking along a hallway may feel a sudden chill, hear footsteps echoing behind them, and glimpse a shadowy figure disappearing around a corner. In rooms, unexplained scratches may appear on skin, while faint whispers drift from the corners of the space. These overlapping occurrences create an immersive experience that blurs the boundary between the present and the past, leaving guests with a lingering impression that the Vinoy is alive with memory and presence. Despite the unsettling nature of these phenomena, the spirits of the Vinoy are rarely described as malevolent. Most apparitions appear residual, repeating actions or routines from the hotel's past rather than seeking to harm. Guests often experience feelings of awe, curiosity, or melancholy, struck by the poignancy of lives long gone, yet preserved in the energy of the building. The hotel's hauntings serve as a reminder of the human experiences that unfolded within its walls. Celebrations, farewells, and quiet moments etched into the fabric of the structure itself. Even casual visitors sense the weight of history at the Vinoy Renaissance. The grand architecture, with its high ceilings, ornate chandeliers, and long corridors, enhances the eerie beauty of its paranormal activity. Shadows stretch and flicker, footsteps echo across marble, and doors slam unexpectedly, creating a tangible connection to the past. The building becomes a living archive of memory, a place where moments long forgotten replay endlessly, and where The spirits of former guests and staff continue to traverse. Hallways linger in rooms and leave their mark upon those who cross their path. The Victorian Renaissance Hotel is more than a luxury destination. It is a repository of history, memory, and lingering presence. Shadowy figures pace corridors. Unexplained scratches appear on the bodies of guests, and doors slam without cause. Hallways and rooms resonate with whispers, footsteps, and laughter from decades past, creating a layered and immersive haunting. For those who walk the halls after dark or linger in quiet corners, the Victorian reveals itself as a place where the past and present coexist, where echoes of long-gone guests replay endlessly, and where the spirits of the hotel's history remain ever-present, bound forever to the grand halls and corridors of the Pink Palace of St. Petersburg. The Roosevelt Hotel in Jacksonville, Florida, stands as a grand monument to the city's history, elegance, and enduring charm. Opened in the early 20th century, this iconic hotel has welcomed generations of travelers seeking luxury accommodations, fine dining, and proximity to the vibrant heart of the city. Its opulent architecture, sweeping staircases, and richly appointed rooms make it a landmark of sophistication. Yet beyond the gilded decor and polished surfaces lies a darker side and undercurrent of paranormal activity that has long fascinated guests, staff, and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Over the years, countless visitors have reported experiences that hint at lingering presences, shadowy figures, and inexplicable events, making the Roosevelt Hotel a location steeped in mystery and ghostly intrigue. One of the most commonly reported phenomena involves phantom footsteps echoing through the hotel's corridors. Guests walking the hallways late at night often hear the distinct sound of shoes clicking on polished floors or the shuffle of someone moving just beyond sight. These footsteps follow, sometimes matching the pace of a living visitor, yet vanish whenever one attempts to locate their source. Staff members have also reported hearing footsteps in wings of the hotel that are long since closed, or on staircases where no one could possibly be present. The sound is so precise and rhythmic that it is impossible to dismiss as imagination, creating an unnerving awareness of an unseen presence that mirrors the movements of the living. Another chilling aspect of the Roosevelt's hauntings involves shadowy figures. Guests have reported seeing indistinct forms standing at the foot of their beds, motionless and silent, often for only a few moments before fading into darkness. Some figures appear human in shape, dressed in period clothing, while others are darker, more undefined, and difficult to focus on. These apparitions are often accompanied by a feeling of being watched, a subtle pressure in the room, or a sudden chill that seems to seep into the bones. The experience leaves an undeniable impression that the hotel holds memories, perhaps imprints of past guests or staff who continue to linger within its walls. Physical interactions also occur, often in alarming ways. Some guests wake too deep, unexplained scratches on their arms, legs, or shoulders, marks that appear overnight with no evident cause. These scratches are usually thin but long, as though produced by fingernails, and are accompanied by a tingling or prickling sensation felt during sleep. While the source remains mysterious, many attribute the marks to restless spirits, possibly reliving moments of intensity or agitation, or attempting to communicate in a physical manner when no other channel is available. Auditory occurrences add another layer to the haunting. Whispered voices drift through rooms and corridors, sometimes forming fragmented conversations that are impossible to fully comprehend. Doors may creak or slam without wind or mechanical cause, and distant sounds like the clinking of glasses, the shuffle of clothing, or the faint laughter of unseen guests echo in areas long since emptied. Guests frequently describe a layered experience, where visual, auditory, and tactile phenomena occur simultaneously, creating an immersive sense of the past pressing into the present. The history of the Roosevelt Hotel contributes to the depth of its paranormal activity. Over the decades, it has witnessed countless personal dramas, social events, and historic moments. Weddings, celebrations, and hotel banquets filled its halls with joy, while accidents, sudden deaths, and personal tragedies occurred within its walls as well. Paranormal experts suggest that intense emotions, whether joy, grief, fear, or excitement, can imprint upon a location, creating residual energy that manifests as shadowy figures, phantom sounds, or physical sensations. In a hotel with as storied a past as the Roosevelt, the accumulation of these emotional imprints may explain why guests and staff continue to encounter phenomena that defy rational explanation. Visitors often report multiple hauntings occurring simultaneously. A guest may hear footsteps echoing in the hallway, see a shadowy figure at the foot of the bed, and awaken with a scratch on their arm all within the same night. Others describe hearing whispers in one corridor, witnessing objects move slightly, or feeling cold spots in rooms where the temperature should be warm. These overlapping phenomena create a sense of immersion, as if the hotel itself is alive with memory and presence, replaying fragments of its past for those sensitive enough to perceive them. Despite the unsettling nature of these encounters, the spirits at the Roosevelt Hotel are rarely described as overtly malevolent. Most appear residual, replaying actions or routines from the hotel's history rather than interacting with or harming the living. Guests often report feelings of awe, melancholy, or curiosity rather than outright fear, struck by the sense that they are glimpsing a layer of history preserved in the hotel's walls. The combination of shadowy figures, phantom footsteps, whispered voices, and unexplained scratches serves as a reminder of the lives that intersected within this grand building, each leaving an imprint that endures to the present. The Roosevelt Hotel remains a location where history and the paranormal coexist. Shadowy figures stand at beds, phantom footsteps echo through deserted corridors, and guests awaken to marks with no logical explanation. Doors slam without cause, whispers drift through halls, and cold spots materialize in otherwise warm rooms. For those who wander its hallways after dark or linger in quiet corners, the hotel reveals itself as more than a luxurious accommodation. It is a repository of human experience, memory, and lingering presence. The spirits of its past visitors continue to traverse its corridors, bound to the grand architecture and the lives once lived within, replaying moments that refuse to fade, and ensuring that the Roosevelt Hotel remains a place where the past is never truly gone. The Casa Monica Hotel in St. Augustine, Florida, stands as a testament to the city's rich history and architectural grandeur. Built in 1888, this Mediterranean revival masterpiece has welcomed visitors for well over a century. Its lavish rooms, ornate staircases, and sunlit terraces offering a glimpse into a bygone era of luxury. Yet beyond the elegance and charm, the Casa Monica carries a reputation that extends into the realm of the unexplained. Guests and staff have long whispered about ghostly presences, unexplained phenomena, and shadowy figures that move silently through the hallways. Over the years, these accounts have woven a tapestry of paranormal intrigue, establishing the hotel as one of St. Augustine's most haunted locations. Among the most frequently reported experiences are sightings of shadowy figures in the hallways. Guests describe dark, indistinct forms moving along corridors, often disappearing around corners or fading into walls. These apparitions are typically humanoid, and some are said to wear clothing reminiscent of the late 19th or early 20th centuries. Reflecting the hotel's early days, visitors have reported these figures pacing silently, standing motionless as though observing the living, or slowly drifting from one area to another. The presence of these shadows is often accompanied by the chilling sensation of being watched, creating an uneasy awareness that unseen eyes are following every step taken within the hotel's historic halls. Auditory phenomena accompany these visual encounters, adding a layer of complexity to the haunting. Many guests report hearing footsteps echoing across polished floors, even when hallways are empty. Some describe faint whispers, broken sentences, or the soft murmur of conversations from decades past, drifting through the air with no discernible source. Doors may creak or slam unexpectedly, often in suites or corridors, with no logical explanation. In some instances, the laughter of unseen figures or the soft shuffle of skirts has been reported in quiet hallways. particularly during the early hours of the morning when the hotel is at its stillest. These sounds, subtle yet persistent, create an atmosphere that blurs the boundary between past and present. Physical interactions are among the most unsettling reports at Casa Monica. Guests have awakened to find the feeling of someone sitting beside them on the edge of the bed, a pressure or weight that vanishes as soon as they attempt to look. In some cases, scratches appear on the sheets or directly on the skin. Long, thin marks that cannot be explained by pets, clothing, or accidental contact. These physical sensations, often paired with the sight of shadowy figures or cold spots in rooms, suggest an active presence that engages with the living in ways that are tactile as well as visual. Cold spots, in particular, are frequently reported, with pockets of freezing air appearing inexplicably in otherwise warm suites or corridors. Visitors often note that these chills are accompanied by the faintest tingling sensations or goosebumps, as if the energy of the hotel is reaching out to make its presence known. The history of the Casa Monica Hotel offers context for these paranormal encounters. Since its opening in the late 19th century, the hotel has been a site of celebration, luxury, and occasionally tragedy. Over the decades, countless guests have passed through its halls, and events both joyful and sorrowful have unfolded within its walls. Weddings, social gatherings, and grand occasions brought moments of intense emotion, while accidents, untimely deaths, and personal tragedies left marks of sorrow. Paranormal investigators suggest that such emotional intensity can leave residual energy, embedding itself in the architecture and atmosphere of the building. The shadowy figures, cold spots, and physical interactions may represent echoes of these emotions, lingering long after the original events have passed. Many guests report overlapping phenomena, creating immersive and layered experiences. While walking down a dimly lit corridor, one might feel an unexplained chill, hear footsteps echoing behind them, and catch a fleeting glimpse of a shadowy figure at the end of the hallway. In rooms, the simultaneous occurrence of physical sensations, cold drafts, and auditory anomalies can leave visitors with a heightened awareness of the past pressing into the present. These multi-sensory experiences give the impression that the Casa Monica Hotel is alive with memory, replaying fragments of lives and moments from more than a century ago. Despite the unsettling nature of these hauntings, the spirits of Casa Monica are rarely described as malevolent. Most apparitions appear residual, repeating actions or routines from the hotel's past rather than seeking to interact with or harm the living. Guests often describe feelings of awe, melancholy, or fascination rather than outright fear. The sense of history preserved in spectral form leaves a deep impression, reminding visitors that the hotel is more than a building. It is a repository of human experience, emotion, and memory. The architecture and layout of the Casa Monica enhance its spectral presence. Ornate staircases, long corridors, and high ceilings provide spaces where shadows stretch and move, and sunlight filtering through arched windows casts shifting patterns that seem almost alive. The combination of historical design and coastal atmosphere allows for an eerie beauty, where every hallway and room holds the potential for a brush with the supernatural. The Whitehall Hotel in Palm Beach, Florida, stands as a majestic symbol of the Gilded Age, a sprawling estate of opulence and history. built in the early 20th century. This grand hotel has long attracted the wealthy and famous, offering unparalleled luxury, ornate architecture, and sweeping views of the Atlantic Ocean. Yet beneath its lavish chandeliers and marble floors lies a darker, more mysterious side. Over the decades, visitors and staff have reported strange and unexplainable occurrences, ghostly figures in vintage attire, whispers echoing through empty corridors, and unexplained scratches appearing on guests' bodies or sheets. The Whitehall is not just a historic landmark, it is a repository of memories, and some of them refuse to rest. One of the most common reports comes from guests who awaken in the dead of night to the sensation of being watched. Many describe the feeling of someone standing at the foot of their bed or gliding silently along the side, only to vanish when approached. Some witnesses claim to see figures dressed in period clothing suits, dresses, and hats from the early 1900s, moving gracefully through the hallways. These figures often appear translucent, fading in and out of sight, their presence lingering long enough to create an unshakable impression. Guests often note the eerie contrast between the hotel's elegance and the unnerving sense of being accompanied by unseen entities. Whispers are frequently reported in rooms, corridors, and common areas, usually late at night. These whispers are often indecipherable, broken fragments of conversation that seem to belong to a bygone era. In some cases, staff members have reported hearing names being called softly down empty corridors, or the subtle hum of voices discussing events that occurred decades ago. The sounds are typically faint, almost as if the building itself is replaying memories stored within its walls. Some visitors have claimed that the whispers grow louder near certain rooms or along specific hallways, suggesting that the energy of the hotel is concentrated in specific areas. Physical manifestations also occur, often in deeply personal ways. These scratches are usually thin but long, resembling the movement of fingernails or light clawing. Some guests report waking to find sheets disheveled or shifted in a manner that suggests someone had been lying beside them. These experiences, while startling, rarely indicate outright malice. Instead, they are seen as signs of the presence of past owners, staff, or guests who remain tied to the Whitehall, interacting with the living world in subtle, tactile ways. The history of the Whitehall Hotel helps explain the nature of these hauntings. Built during a time of unprecedented wealth, the hotel hosted lavish parties, high society gatherings, and countless personal events. It has seen generations of staff and ownership pass through its halls, each leaving an imprint of their routines, hopes, and even fears. The intense emotions and life-altering moments that occurred within its walls, joy, excitement, sorrow, and grief, are thought to have left residual energy, which may manifest as shadowy figures, unexplained sounds, or physical interactions with guests. Some paranormal investigators believe that certain individuals, particularly those with strong emotional attachments to the property, are more likely to linger as spirits after death. Witnesses often experience layered phenomena, creating an immersive sense of the hotel's haunted past. A guest walking down a quiet corridor might see a shadowy figure gliding past, hear a faint whisper echo behind them, and feel a sudden chill sweep across the hallway. The layering of visual, auditory, and physical experiences gives visitors the sense that they are not merely observing the past, but experiencing it in real time, intersecting with lives that have long since ended. Despite the eerie encounters, most spirits at the Whitehall appear residual rather than malicious. Shadowy figures often repeat actions or routines, such as walking hallways, attending to doors, or moving about spaces that once held activity. Guests frequently describe feelings of awe, fascination, or melancholy rather than outright fear. There is a sense of being witness to history, a fleeting window into lives that continue to exist alongside the living, even if they cannot interact directly. The architecture of the Whitehall enhances the haunting experience. Long corridors lined with ornate woodwork, high ceilings with chandeliers, and grand staircases create spaces where shadows stretch and flicker, while sunlight, filtering through large windows, casts patterns that seem to move across the floors. The combination of historic design and the hotel's proximity to the ocean allows for subtle changes in light, sound, an air which can accentuate the feeling of presence and create an almost cinematic backdrop for encounters with the unexplained. Even the faint scent of polished wood, antique fabrics, or sea air can evoke a sense of memory, making the presence of unseen figures all the more tangible. And guests continue to glide, watch, and replay the moments of a bygone era, forever bound to the grandeur and legacy of the Palm Beach landmark. The Biltmore Hotel in Coral Gables, Florida, stands as a monumental tribute to the grandeur of the 1920s, an architectural masterpiece whose towers, courtyards, and opulent interiors have made it an enduring symbol of luxury. Since its opening in 1926, the Biltmore has hosted celebrities, dignitaries, and vacationers drawn to its Mediterranean revival style, its sprawling golf course, and the elegance of its ballrooms and dining halls. Yet beneath its polished marble floors and ornate ceilings, the hotel is renowned for a history that extends beyond its lavish amenities, history steeped in whispers, shadows, and the inexplicable. Guests and staff alike have long reported encounters with spirits, ghostly figures roaming its halls, and phenomena that defy logical explanation, earning the Biltmore a reputation as one of Florida's most haunted hotels. Visitors often describe seeing translucent shapes moving silently along hallways, sometimes reaching toward them with outstretched hands before vanishing into walls or around corners. The Biltmore's vast hallways, lined with polished marble and intricate woodwork, create a setting where shadows stretch and flicker, enhancing the eerie realism of these encounters. Auditory phenomena are also frequently reported. Guests have heard footsteps echoing down empty corridors, sometimes matching their own pace or moving independently. Whispers drift through hallways or rooms, often indecipherable yet unmistakably human in quality. Doors and windows move without cause, creaking open or slamming shut in silence. In certain ballrooms, the faint sounds of laughter, clinking glasses, and music from long-ended parties have been reported. Staff members have noted similar occurrences in offices and service areas, with doors, lights, and equipment behaving unpredictably at times that cannot be explained by natural causes. Physical manifestations are among the most unsettling phenomena at the Biltmore. Guests staying in specific rooms have reported waking with scratches along their arms, legs, or shoulders, often long, thin marks resembling fingernails. Some visitors also report sudden cold spots or a sensation of weight on the bed as if someone is sitting beside them. Objects may shift slightly, and sheets or personal items may appear moved without explanation. These occurrences suggest a tangible, physical aspect to the haunting, where spirits interact with the living world in subtle but undeniable ways. The Biltmore's storied past offers insight into why such hauntings may occur. As one of the most luxurious hotels of its era, it has witnessed countless moments of high emotion, from grand celebrations to personal tragedies. Weddings, parties, and social gatherings brought joy and excitement, while illnesses, accidents, and untimely deaths contributed sorrow and grief. Paranormal researchers suggest that intense emotional experiences can leave residual energy in a building, manifesting as shadow figures, unexplained sounds, or physical interactions. In the Biltmore, where generations of guests and staff have passed through its halls, the accumulation of these emotional imprints may explain the persistence and variety of reported phenomena. Guests often describe layered encounters where multiple types of activity occur simultaneously. A visitor may see a shadowy figure in the corner of a corridor, hear footsteps echo behind them, and awaken to unexplained scratches on their arms all in a single night. Others report hearing whispered voices while walking past empty rooms or feeling a sudden chill in a hallway that was warm moments before. These overlapping experiences create an immersive sense that the hotel itself is alive with memory and presence, replaying fragments of its past for those perceptive enough to witness them. Despite the unsettling nature of these experiences, most of the Biltmore spirits appear to be residual rather than actively malevolent. Shadowy figures often repeat the same movements walking corridors, tending to doors, or lingering near windows, suggesting routines preserved in the hotel's energy rather than attempts to harm the living. Guests report feelings of awe, fascination, or melancholy when encountering these apparitions, rather than fear alone. There is a sense of witnessing history in motion, of encountering echoes of lives that continue to coexist with the present. The architecture of the Biltmore amplifies its haunting presence. Long corridors, sweeping staircases, arched ceilings, and expansive ballrooms create environments where shadows stretch, echoes carry, and the interplay of light and space heightens the supernatural atmosphere. Even the faint sense of polished wood, aged stone, and distant sea air contribute to the sensation of stepping into a space that is alive with memory. The combination of historical grandeur and layered human presence makes the hotel an ideal setting for phenomena that are both subtle and profoundly affecting. The Biltmore Hotel in Coral Gables is far more than a historic luxury destination. Whispers drift through rooms, doors move without explanation, and cold spots chill the air unexpectedly. For those who wander its corridors after dark or linger in quiet corners, the Biltmore offers a glimpse into a layered past, a space where the spirits of guests and staff continue to exist alongside the living. The hotel's haunted reputation endures, a testament to the lingering power of memory, history, and human emotion preserved within the grand walls and opulent halls of this Coral Gables landmark. The scratches are often accompanied by a sudden chill in the room, a cold spot that cannot be explained by air conditioning or drafts. Visitors report a tingling sensation on their skin, as though the unseen presence is actively making contact, leaving behind physical evidence of its existence. Visual phenomena are equally unsettling. Shadowy forms are frequently observed moving silently in the corners of rooms or along the hallways. These figures are often indistinct, lacking clear features, but their shape and movement unmistakably suggest human form. Some guests report seeing these shadows glide along the walls, vanish into thin air, or linger near doorways before disappearing. There are also accounts of figures dressed in vintage clothing, reminiscent of the hotel's early days, giving the impression that past occupants or long-gone staff continue to roam the suites. The presence of these apparitions is accompanied by an undeniable sense of awareness, as if the figures are observant. or even interacting with those who currently inhabit the rooms. Some describe muffled voices, as if conversing in another time, while others hear footsteps echoing along the polished floors outside their suites. Doors may creak or slam with no wind, and a gentle shuffle of fabric or soft tapping of shoes can be heard at odd hours. In some cases, the faint sound of laughter or conversation from long-past gatherings seems to drift through the top-floor suites, reinforcing the impression that the hotel's history is not just remembered, but replayed by unseen presences. The history of the Don Caesar beachside suites offers insight into these ghostly encounters. Over its nearly a century of operation, the hotel has witnessed countless personal dramas, celebrations, and tragedies, from lavish parties and high society galas to the private lives of guests and the quiet work of staff. Every corner of the hotel has absorbed intense human emotion. Paranormal investigators suggest that such strong emotions, particularly when tied to significant events, can leave imprints on a location, creating residual energy that may manifest as apparitions, unexplained noises, or physical sensations. The top-floor suites, often used by VIPs or for special occasions, may hold stronger residual energy due to the high intensity of past events, explaining why so many reports originate from these rooms. Guests frequently experience multiple phenomena simultaneously, creating an immersive haunting. A visitor might notice a shadow moving in the corner, feel a sudden chill, hear a whisper, and awaken to scratches on the bed all within a single night. In hallways leading to the suites, similar phenomena occur, doors shifting slightly, footsteps echoing without a source, and the sense of unseen eyes tracking each movement. These overlapping experiences make the Don Caesar feel alive with memory and presence, as though the hotel itself is a living archive of human experience, replaying fragments of the past alongside the present. Despite the unsettling nature of these encounters, the spirits of the Don Caesar are rarely described as malicious. Shadowy figures and unexplained phenomena are typically residual, repeating actions or routines from the hotel's history rather than actively seeking to harm guests. Visitors often report feelings of awe, curiosity, or melancholic fascination rather than fear. There is a sense that these apparitions are connected to the rich history of the hotel, a reminder of lives once lived and the enduring presence of those who remain bound to the Don Caesar's halls and suites. The architecture of the hotel itself enhances the haunting experience. Arched ceilings, long corridors, and intricate detailing create spaces where shadows can stretch and move in ways that seem almost purposeful. Sunlight filtering through large windows casts patterns that shift as the day progresses, and the gentle sound of ocean waves adds an atmospheric layer that heightens awareness of presence. Even the scent of aged wood, polished floors, and sea air contributes to the impression that the hotel is more than a building. It is a vessel of memory, energy, and lingering spirits. The Don Caesar beachside suites remains a destination of beauty and history. But for those who venture into the top-floor rooms, it is also a place of the unexplained. Shadowy figures glide silently through corners, whispers drift along empty corridors, and scratches appear on bed sheets and skin without cause. Cold spots chill the air unexpectedly, footsteps echo in unoccupied hallways, and guests awaken to sensations that defy explanation. For those who wander its suites after dark, the Don Caesar reveals itself as a repository of memory, emotion, and presence, a space where the past continues to coexist with the present, and where the spirits of its long-gone occupants remain ever watchful along the pink sands of St. Pete Beach. Physical interactions are among the more unsettling reports at the Ritz-Carlton. Guests often awaken to find scratches along their hands, arms, or shoulders. Long, thin marks that appear overnight with no visible cause. Many report no recollection of movement during sleep that could have caused such injuries. And the marks seem to coincide with the sensation of being touched or a subtle pressure in the room. In some instances, guests describe waking to the feeling of an unseen hand, grazing their skin, brushing their arm, or resting lightly on the bed beside them. These physical manifestations leave a lingering sense that the hotel is more than a static environment. It is a place where residual energy or active spirits continue to make their presence felt in tangible ways. Auditory phenomena extend beyond voices, calling names. Guests have reported hearing murmurs, soft conversations, and footsteps echoing along polished hallways, particularly late at night when the hotel is quiet. Doors may creak open or shut without cause, and the distant clatter of objects moving is sometimes heard in suites long after cleaning staff have departed. In some cases, visitors describe the faint sound of laughter or music from events that seem long past, creating an eerie layering of present and past activity. These sounds are often fleeting, difficult to trace, and seem designed to create a subtle but persistent awareness of the unseen. The history of the Ritz-Carlton, Sarasota, may help explain these mysterious occurrences. Over decades, the hotel has hosted countless guests and staff, each leaving behind fragments of their presence, emotion, and memory. High levels of excitement, celebration, stress, or sorrow are believed by paranormal researchers to leave imprints on a location, which can manifest later as residual hauntings. Weddings, business gatherings, and private celebrations bring intense human emotion into the hotel's suites and halls, while personal tragedies or sudden deaths add layers of grief and unrest. Over time, these emotional echoes may coalesce into phenomena experienced by later visitors, manifesting as ghostly voices, sudden chills, or physical interactions like scratches or touches. Guests often experience overlapping phenomena, which creates a sense of immersion into the hotel's haunted past. A visitor might hear their name called while walking down a quiet corridor, feel a cold draft along their arm, and awaken to a scratch on their hand all in a single night. In some suites, these experiences are heightened by the architecture itself. High ceilings, long hallways, and expansive windows can create echoes, shadows, and atmospheric conditions that amplify the perception of presence. Many guests describe a heightened sense of awareness in these areas, feeling that the hotel itself is alive with memory, replaying fragments of its history for those sensitive to its energies. Visual manifestations, while less commonly reported than auditory or physical phenomena, also occur. Guests have occasionally glimpsed shadowy shapes at the edge of their vision, fleeting forms that vanish when fully observed. Some describe figures dressed in early 20th century attire, suggesting that past visitors or staff may continue to linger in the space. These figures often move slowly, almost deliberately, as if performing routines frozen in time. The combination of visual, auditory, and tactile experiences gives visitors the impression that the Ritz-Carlton is a living repository of human presence, a place where echoes of past lives continue to coexist with the present. Despite the unnerving nature of these encounters, most spirits at the Ritz-Carlton are not described as hostile. Shadowy figures and unseen presences appear to repeat actions or remain in place without intentionally causing harm. Guests frequently report feelings of awe, curiosity, or melancholic fascination rather than fear, noting the sense of being connected to the long history of the hotel. The residual activity feels like a window into the lives of those who have stayed or worked there before. A subtle reminder that places of human significance can hold memory and presence far beyond the span of individual lifetimes. The Ritz-Carlton, Sarasota, with its elegant decor, pristine grounds, and panoramic ocean views, offers a luxurious retreat by day, but by night, it becomes a space where the unexplained comes alive. Phantom voices call guests by name. Footsteps echo along empty corridors, and unexplained scratches appear on hands and arms. Shadowy forms drift silently in suites and hallways, while whispers, creaks, and faint laughter fill the air. For those who experience these phenomena, the hotel is more than a place to stay. It is a bridge between past and present, a repository of human emotion and memory, and a hauntingly beautiful reminder that some presences linger long after life has ended, forever tied to the opulent walls and history of this Sarasota landmark. The Vinoy Tower Suites in St. Petersburg, Florida, is a landmark of historic elegance and luxury. Built in the 1920s, this grand hotel boasts Mediterranean Revival architecture, sweeping views of the waterfront, and interiors filled with ornate detailing and polished marble floors. Over the decades, it has hosted countless guests, from vacationers to dignitaries, drawn to its blend of sophistication and charm. Yet beneath its opulent surface lies a history steeped in mystery and unexplained phenomena. Many visitors have reported unusual experiences that defy rational explanation: shadowy figures appearing in mirrors, faint whispers echoing through hallways, and scratches mysteriously appearing on walls, bedsheets, or even their own skin. The Vinoy Tower Suites is not just a monument to luxury, but also a place where the past lingers in the present, sometimes with startling intensity. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves shadowy figures appearing in mirrors. Guests often glance at themselves before retiring for the night, only to notice indistinct shapes lurking behind them or reflected in other parts of the room. These shadows are usually human in form but lack detail, appearing as dark silhouettes that seem to watch quietly before disappearing. Some visitors report feeling a sudden chill as they observe these apparitions, an icy sensation that spreads across their skin or along their arms. In some cases, the figures appear fleetingly in bedroom mirrors, hall mirrors, or even reflective surfaces in suites, always disappearing when the observer turns fully toward them. The presence of these mirrored shadows suggests a connection to residual energy, a subtle replay of moments long past within the hotel's historic walls. Guests also frequently awaken to find scratches on walls, bedsheets, or themselves. Thin, irregular marks appear overnight without explanation, sometimes on arms, legs, or shoulders. These scratches often coincide with the feeling of being watched or the sensation of an unseen presence moving near the bed. Some visitors describe a brief pressure on the mattress, as though someone had been leaning over them, only for the sensation to vanish moments later. While these experiences are unnerving, they rarely indicate malicious intent. Many paranormal researchers suggest that such occurrences are the result of residual energy from intense past emotions, or the presence of spirits connected to the hotel who are replaying actions and routines from long ago. Auditory phenomena are also a common feature of the Vinoy Tower Suites' haunted reputation. Guests have reported hearing whispers late at night, drifting down hallways or through suites when no one else is present. These whispers are often soft, almost imperceptible, and sometimes appear to call a guest's name or repeat fragmented conversations from another era. Footsteps echo along the polished floors, sometimes matching the pace of the guest and sometimes moving independently, creating the impression that the hotel is alive with unseen activity. In some cases, the faint sound of laughter, music, or conversation seems to drift from suites or hallways long after events or gatherings have ended, adding an eerie layering of past and present that is both captivating and unnerving. The Vinoy Tower Suites' history provides context for these strange experiences. Since its opening, the hotel has seen countless celebrations, gatherings, and personal milestones, alongside quieter moments of sorrow or tragedy. Weddings, social events, and parties brought intense joy and excitement, while illnesses, accidents, and deaths contributed sorrow and loss. Paranormal experts suggest that such high-intensity emotional experiences can leave a lasting imprint on a location, producing residual energy that manifests later as visual, auditory, or tactile phenomena. The upper floors and suites, often used by long-term guests or VIPs, appear to be hotspots for activity, likely because they were locations of heightened emotional energy in the past. Many visitors experience overlapping phenomena, which creates a layered sense of haunting. A guest may see a shadowy figure in the mirror, hear whispers from the hallway, and awaken to a scratch on the armhole. Within the same night, in hallways leading to suites, footsteps can echo without source, doors may move slightly, and cold spots can appear suddenly, intensifying the sensation that the hotel itself is alive with memory. These experiences are often subtle, yet they leave a lasting impression, making the Victorian Tower Suites a place where history feels present and tangible. Visual manifestations extend beyond mirrors. Shadowy figures are sometimes seen moving along hallways or lingering near doorways, disappearing when approached. These apparitions often appear in period clothing, suggesting that past guests or staff continue to inhabit the space in spectral form. Observers report that the figures seem unaware of the living, repeating actions from a bygone era as if time itself is layered within the hotel's walls. The combination of visual, auditory, and tactile experiences gives visitors the impression that they are not merely staying in a hotel, but walking through a living memory where the past continues to interact with the present. Despite the unsettling nature of these encounters, the spirits at the Victorian Tower Suites are rarely malevolent. Visitors often describe feelings of fascination, awe, or quiet unease, rather than fear alone, as though they are glimpsing the echoes of lives once lived. The experiences at the hotel offer a unique connection to history, a subtle reminder that places of importance can retain the energy of the people who once walked their halls, long after those individuals have passed away. The architecture of the Victorian Tower Suites enhances the haunting experience. Long corridors, polished floors, ornate staircases, and high ceilings create spaces where shadows stretch, echoes carry, and subtle shifts in light can make fleeting apparitions appear more vivid. Large windows overlooking the waterfront contribute to changing light and reflective surfaces, while the gentle sound of waves adds a layered atmosphere, blending the natural with the supernatural. Even the faint scent of aged wood, antique fabrics, or distant sea air can heighten the sense of presence, making guests feel that the hotel is more than a collection of rooms. It is a vessel for memory, emotion, and lingering spirits. The Victorian Tower Suites in St. Petersburg offers an experience that blends luxury and the inexplicable. Shadowy figures appear in mirrors and along hallways. Whispers drift through the air, and scratches manifest without explanation. Cold spots chill the rooms, footsteps echo in empty corridors, and guests awaken to sensations of unseen presence. For those who venture into the upper floors or linger in quiet corners, the hotel becomes a space where the past is never far away, where memories are preserved not just in photographs or stories, but in the lingering presence of those who once walked its halls, forever intertwined with the grandeur and mystery of this historic St. Petersburg landmark. Built in 1888 by Henry Flagler, the hotel was a shining jewel of the Gilded Age, designed in the Spanish Renaissance Revival style, with ornate stonework, grand staircases, and expansive ballrooms. Its history is rich with stories of opulent events, celebrated guests, and the bustling activity of staff tending to the needs of travelers from around the world. Yet beneath its lavish architecture lies a reputation for the unexplained. Guests and staff have long reported ghostly encounters, from shadowy figures gliding through hallways to mysterious scratches appearing on bedsheets or even on their own skin. The Ponce de Leon is more than a historic hotel. It is a space where the past lingers and where the spirits of former residents and workers appear to continue their presence in the building as grand halls and rooms. Many of the ghostly sightings at the Ponce de Leon occur in the hallways and staircases. Visitors describe seeing shadowy figures moving silently along corridors, often disappearing when approached or observed directly. Some report glimpsing former staff in vintage uniforms, performing their duties in spectral form as if caught in a loop of the past. Others witness apparitions of guests in period attire, strolling gracefully through the hotel's ornate passageways. These figures are typically observed in peripheral vision, vanishing when attention is focused. Yet their fleeting presence leaves an impression of movement and life that feels both real and otherworldly. Auditory phenomena are also frequently reported. Guests have heard whispers echoing through the hallways, often just outside their suites, with no source to explain the sounds. The whispers are sometimes unintelligible, at other times seeming to form fragments of conversation or names, as if the spirits are replaying moments from their lives long ago. Footsteps are commonly reported on empty corridors, sometimes matching the guest's own pace or coming from behind with an unsettling independence. Doors, windows, and cabinets occasionally move on their own, creaking open or shutting without wind or human intervention. Some guests even claim to hear faint music or laughter drifting from areas where parties or gatherings were once held, further enhancing the hotel's eerie atmosphere. Physical manifestations are among the most disturbing experiences at the Ponce-de-Leon. Guests often awaken to find scratches along their arms, shoulders, or hands, thin lines appearing overnight with no discernible cause. Some report feeling a light pressure on the bed as if a ghostly presence had leaned over them, or the sensation of being touched gently while sleeping. Bedsheets may be found twisted or moved, and personal items occasionally shift position without explanation. While these physical interactions can be alarming, they rarely cause lasting harm. Paranormal researchers suggest that such phenomena are evidence of residual energy or spirits attempting to interact with the living, replaying actions that were once part of their daily existence within the hotel. Throughout its years of operation, it has been a center of high-emotion grand weddings. Social events, personal celebrations, and tragic losses all took place within its walls. Staff and guests invested immense emotional energy into their time at the hotel. From long hours of labor to the joys and sorrows of travel and social life, according to many paranormal investigators, intense emotions can leave imprints on a location, creating residual energy that may manifest as visual, auditory, or physical phenomena. The Ponce-de-Leon, with its nearly century and a half of human activity, provides fertile ground for such lingering presences. Many experiences involve multiple types of phenomena occurring simultaneously. Guests may see a shadow pass down a hallway, hear whispers echo in their suite, and awaken with scratches on their skin, all within a single night. Observers report the sensation of being watched as they walk corridors or stand near ornate staircases, reinforcing the impression that the hotel is alive with memory. These overlapping experiences create a hauntingly immersive environment, making guests feel as though they are part of the hotel's long history, momentarily interacting with its past inhabitants. Visual manifestations extend beyond shadowy figures. Mirrors sometimes reflect movements that are not in the room, as if showing a scene from a different time. Guests report catching glimpses of figures in period clothing in the corner of their vision, performing routine actions or pausing to look toward them before disappearing. These apparitions are most often residual in nature, replaying moments frozen in time rather than engaging directly with the living. However, the effect is profoundly unsettling, giving the impression that the Ponce-de-Leon exists simultaneously into arise the present. Despite the eerie nature of these encounters, the spirits of the Ponce-de-Leon are not often described as malevolent. Guests frequently experience awe, curiosity, or a quiet sense of unease rather than outright fear. Witnessing these phenomena often leaves a lasting impression, creating a sense of connection to the hotel's storied past and its many human stories. And the present, a space where the memory of staff and guests continues to exist in a tangible, if mysterious, form. High ceilings, sweeping staircases, polished wood, and stone floors create hallways where shadows stretch and sounds echo dramatically. Ornate windows and reflective surfaces can produce fleeting visual distortions, while the quiet stillness of certain suites at night makes even subtle activity feel amplified. Combined with the hotel's long history and layered human presence, these architectural elements help create the sense that past and present coexist, allowing ghostly presences to make themselves felt in compelling ways. But for those who explore its upper floors or quiet corridors, It is also a place of the unexplained. Shadowy figures glide through hallways, whispers drift from empty rooms, and scratches appear mysteriously on bedsheets and skin. Cold spots, footsteps, and unseen pressures create an environment where the past seems to linger, where the energy of staff and guests from decades past continues to echo. For visitors, the Ponce de Leon is more than a hotel. It is a living archive of memory, emotion. The Don Cesar on St. Pete Beach, Florida, often called the Pink Palace, is famous for its striking pink facade, Mediterranean-inspired architecture, and sweeping views of the Gulf of Mexico. Built in 1928, it quickly became a symbol of luxury and sophistication, attracting travelers from across the nation who came to enjoy its opulent guest rooms, sun-drenched terraces, and vibrant social scene. Yet beneath its glamorous exterior, certain guest rooms within the Don Cesar are notorious for experiences that cannot be explained by luxury or design. Many of the reported phenomena occur in the top-floor rooms and suites, often those with the most expansive views of the ocean. Guests have described waking in the middle of the night to the sensation of being watched. Some feel an unseen weight at the foot of the bed, a subtle pressure across the sheets, or a tingling sensation on their skin. These moments are often accompanied by sudden chills, cold spots that appear inexplicably in the otherwise warm rooms, and the eerie feeling that something is moving silently around them. Visitors have also reported that these sensations intensify when they attempt to confront or locate the source, only for it to vanish as mysteriously as it appeared. Physical manifestations are among the most unsettling aspects of these encounters. Guests frequently awaken to scratches along their arms or legs, thin lines that were not present before sleep. Many report no recollection of causing the scratches themselves, and in some cases, the marks appear simultaneously with a heightened sense of pressure or presence in the room. Objects on nightstands or dressers are occasionally found displaced or slightly shifted, contributing to the feeling that a ghostly figure has moved about the room during the night. While unnerving, these occurrences are rarely aggressive. Many paranormal experts suggest that they are evidence of residual energy or spirits replaying actions from their time in the hotel, rather than intentionally harming guests. Auditory phenomena are also commonly reported in the Don Cesar's haunted rooms. Guests often hear whispers, low murmurs, or faint voices calling their names, sometimes echoing from corners of the room or from outside the door. Footsteps may be heard across the floors or along the halls, even when the room is unoccupied. Doors occasionally creak or swing slightly without explanation, and some visitors describe the faint sound of laughter or conversation, reminiscent of the hotel's lively past. Visual phenomena, though less frequently reported, add another layer of intrigue to the haunted guest rooms. Shadowy figures have been seen moving along walls, lingering near the corners, or peering through windows. Some guests have glimpsed figures dressed in vintage clothing, echoing the fashion of the early 20th century when the hotel first opened. These figures appear to perform routine actions, such as standing by the window or moving down the hallway, disappearing when directly observed. Such visions suggest a residual replay of past events, as if the room itself retains echoes of former guests and staff. The Don Cesar's long history offers some insight into these phenomena. The rooms most commonly associated with activity are often those that have seen the most significant events or been frequented by notable guests, suggesting a correlation between emotional intensity and the persistence of these spectral traces. Many visitors experience multiple forms of paranormal activity in a single night. Physical sensations, auditory experiences, and fleeting visions converge to create an environment where the past and present coexist, and where the energy of former guests and staff continues to linger. For those who stay in these infamous rooms, the Don Caesar is more than a hotel. It is a living testament to memory, presence, and the enduring mystery of the spirits that call the Pink Palace home. The Breakers in Palm Beach, Florida, stands as a symbol of timeless elegance and refined luxury. Built in the early 20th century on the foundation of Italian Renaissance Revival architecture, the resort has hosted generations of guests seeking opulent accommodations, sun-soaked beaches, and world-class service. Its marble floors, sweeping staircases, ornate ceilings, and expansive hallways evoke a sense of grandeur and history, drawing visitors into a world of lavish comfort. Yet beneath the polished floors and gilded interiors lies a reputation for experiences that defy rational explanation. Over the decades, guests and staff have reported phantom figures moving through the corridors, scratches appearing mysteriously on arms or legs, and mirrors reflecting shapes that vanish when approached. The Breakers is not merely a resort. It is a place where echoes of the past seem to linger, leaving traces that are felt as vividly as they are seen. Many reports of paranormal activity focus on the hotel's long corridors and hallways. Guests describe seeing shadowy figures moving silently at night, often at the edge of vision. These forms are typically human in shape but dark, indistinct, and sometimes dressed in period attire, suggesting they are remnants of past visitors or staff. The figures are rarely aggressive. Instead, they appear to replay routine actions or wander aimlessly, their presence a lingering imprint of the hotel's history. Some witnesses report the sensation of being watched as these figures move past, an unnerving feeling that heightens the impression that the hotel itself is alive with unseen activity. Auditory phenomena accompany many of these sightings. Guests often report hearing footsteps echoing along empty hallways, doors creaking open or shut without cause, and soft whispers that seem to call their names. These whispers are sometimes incomprehensible, other times forming fragments of conversation or faint exclamations, as if the hotel is echoing moments long past. Footsteps may move independently of the guest, sometimes appearing behind them and stopping when they pause, creating a disorienting sense of presence. The combination of visual and auditory experiences gives many visitors the impression that the hotel is more than a static structure. It is a space where past and present intersect, and where history is replayed in subtle, sometimes unsettling ways. Physical manifestations are among the most alarming encounters at the Breakers. Guests have reported waking to scratches on their arms, legs, or shoulders. Thin lines appearing overnight with no apparent explanation. These incidents often coincide with the sensation of pressure on the bed, a gentle brushing of skin, or the feeling of a presence standing nearby. Bed sheets or clothing may appear shifted or twisted, as though moved by an unseen hand. While these occurrences can be alarming, they rarely cause serious harm. Paranormal investigators suggest that such events may be evidence of residual energy or spirits interacting with the living environment, repeating actions from their lives when they were present in the hotel. Mirrors at the Breakers are also reported as focal points for strange experiences. Guests have described glimpsing figures in reflective surfaces that are not visible in the room itself. Shadows appear at the edge of mirrors, sometimes taking human form, only to vanish the instant the observer turns toward them. These reflections often give the impression of movement, yet leave no evidence behind, creating a sense of tension and curiosity. The interplay of light, reflection, and shadow within the hotel's ornate interiors may enhance these experiences. Though witnesses insist that what they see is more than optical illusion it carries, the weight of something historical and inexplicable. The Breakers' extensive history helps explain its reputation for haunting. Over more than a century, the resort has seen countless celebrations, social gatherings, weddings, and personal milestones. At the same time, it has witnessed accidents, illness, and private tragedies. Each guest, event, and staff member contributed emotional energy to the building, whether joy, sorrow, or labor. According to many paranormal researchers, locations imbued with high levels of emotion can retain energy that manifests later as visual, auditory, or tactile phenomena. The Breakers, with its long and vibrant history, provides fertile ground for these lingering impressions. The guest rooms and hallways that were once the most active or emotionally charged are often cited as hotspots for activity. Many visitors experience overlapping phenomena during their stays. A guest may see a shadowy figure in a corridor, hear whispers outside their suite, notice a chill moving across the room, and awaken to scratches on their arms all in a single night. This layering reinforces the feeling that the hotel is more than a physical location. It is a living record of human activity, where past and present coexist in subtle, sometimes startling ways. Despite the unnerving nature of these encounters, spirits at the Breakers are not typically described as hostile. Visitors often report awe or quiet unease rather than fear. Guests frequently interpret these experiences as connections to the hotel's long history, allowing them to feel the continued presence of those who once lived, worked, and celebrated within its walls. In this sense, the hauntings are less threats and more reminders that memory and human energy can persist long after life has moved on. The architecture of the Breakers amplifies these experiences. High ceilings, wide corridors, polished floors, and reflective surfaces allow light, shadow, and sound to interact in ways that heighten the perception of presence. The hotel's proximity to the ocean adds a subtle, constant soundscape, from the ebbing waves to shifting breezes, that can make whispering voices or footsteps feel more tangible. Every ornate detail, from stair railings to marble columns, contributes to an environment where the unseen seems possible and where history is palpable in every corner. The Breakers in Palm Beach is a destination of elegance, luxury, and history, but it is also a place where the unexplained is woven into the fabric of its guest experience. Phantom figures glide silently through corridors, whispers drift through suites, mirrors reflect shapes that vanish, and scratches appear on arms or legs with no apparent cause. Cold spots, shifting objects, and sensations of presence create a hotel that is alive with the echoes of the past. For those who stay in its most haunted rooms or wander its historic hallways at night, the Breakers is more than a resort. It is a living monument to memory, presence, and the lingering mysteries of those who walked its halls before. The Royal Park Hotel in Orlando, Florida, is an iconic destination known for its elegant architecture, lush gardens, and luxurious accommodations. Built in the early 20th century, it has long been a hub for travelers seeking comfort and refinement, hosting generations of visitors drawn to its serene courtyards, polished marble floors, and grand hallways. Yet beneath its sophisticated facade, the hotel has earned a reputation for unexplained phenomena that have intrigued, unsettled, and sometimes terrified guests. Over the years, visitors have reported seeing ghostly figures roaming the hallways, waking with unexplained scratches or bruises, and experiencing sudden cold drafts that seem to sweep through rooms with no source. These occurrences have established the Royal Park Hotel as one of Orlando's most haunted landmarks, a place where history and mystery intertwine. Many of the paranormal accounts originate in the hotel's hallways. Guests walking to or from their rooms have described seeing shadowy figures gliding silently along corridors, often at the edge of vision. These figures are typically human in form but indistinct, sometimes resembling former staff members in period uniforms or guests in attire from decades past. Witnesses often report a sensation of being watched, an invisible presence that follows them as they move through the hall. The figures may vanish when approached or observed directly, leaving behind a lingering sense of unease. Some have even recounted seeing apparitions appear near elevators or staircases, performing repetitive actions as if trapped in a continuous loop of behavior from long ago. Auditory phenomena accompany many of these sightings. Guests have reported hearing footsteps echoing along empty corridors, doors opening and closing with no wind or human interaction, and faint whispers that drift just outside their rooms. These whispers are sometimes indecipherable, at other times forming fragmented words or phrases that sound eerily like names or instructions. In some instances, the sounds appear to originate from rooms that are vacant, giving the impression that someone or something continues to occupy the space unseen. Footsteps may approach and retreat unpredictably, creating a sensation that the hotel is alive with presence long after its bustling activity has ended for the day. Physical manifestations are among the most unnerving experiences reported at the Royal Park Hotel. Guests have awakened to find scratches along their arms or legs, thin and irregular marks that appear overnight without explanation. Others describe bruises or faint indentations that were not present before sleeping. These physical phenomena are often accompanied by sensations of pressure on the bed, a feeling that someone has been leaning over them or sitting beside them, or an unexplained touch on their shoulder or arm. Objects in rooms may shift slightly, bedsheets may become twisted or moved, and personal items may be found in different positions than when the guest left them. While unsettling, these experiences rarely cause lasting harm, yet they leave an impression that something unseen has been present, observing, or interacting with the living. Cold drafts are another common feature of the hotel's hauntings. Guests often report sudden chills that seem to pass through them without warning. Even in rooms with climate control or sealed windows, these cold spots can appear and vanish unpredictably, lingering in corners, near beds, or along hallways. Sometimes they are accompanied by the sensation of being watched or a faint pressure against the skin, reinforcing the perception of an invisible presence. The interplay of cold air, shadowy figures, and auditory cues contributes to a multi-layered experience that is both immersive and unnerving. The Royal Park Hotel's history provides context for its spectral activity. Over its long existence, the hotel has seen countless weddings, social gatherings, parties, and personal milestones, alongside moments of misfortune and tragedy. Staff members devoted years of labor to maintaining the hotel, while guests left behind memories of joy, sorrow, and excitement. Paranormal researchers often suggest that spaces infused with intense human emotion can retain energy long after the original occupants are gone. In locations with high emotional activity, residual energy may manifest as visual, auditory, or physical phenomena. The Royal Park Hotel, with its extensive history and wide range of human experiences, offers fertile ground for such lingering presences. Many guests experience overlapping forms of paranormal activity. A visitor may witness a shadowy figure moving along the corridor, feel a sudden chill, hear faint whispers, and awaken with scratches on the skin all within the same night. These concurrent experiences create a layered impression of haunting, where multiple senses perceive an unseen presence simultaneously. Hallways leading to suites and upper floors often amplify these experiences, as the echoes of footsteps and whispers resonate across the polished floors and high ceilings. Guests describe the sensation of walking through an environment where past and present coexist, and where history seems tangible in every corner. Despite the unsettling nature of these encounters, the spirits of the Royal Park Hotel are not generally described as hostile. Shadowy figures, whispers, and physical sensations appear to repeat actions or linger without overt intent to harm. Visitors often experience awe, curiosity, or a subtle unease rather than outright fear. The phenomena are commonly interpreted as connections to the hotel as past residual echoes of staff and guests who lived, worked, and celebrated within the building. The ghostly presence becomes a bridge between eras, allowing the living to feel the lingering energy of those who once walked these halls. The architecture of the Royal Park Hotel enhances the haunting experience. High ceilings, expansive corridors, polished floors, and reflective surfaces create spaces where shadows stretch, footsteps resonate, and fleeting visual impressions can seem vividly real. Ornate staircases, archways, and windowed terraces provide vantage points where ghostly apparitions can appear and vanish suddenly. Even the gentle background sounds of the city or nearby gardens can amplify subtle noises within the hotel, lending an additional layer of atmosphere to an already mysterious environment. The Royal Park Hotel in Orlando is more than a destination of luxury and comfort. Its hallways, suites, and upper floors are spaces where the unexplained continues to emerge, where shadowy figures roam. Cold drafts sweep through rooms, and scratches appear without cause. Guests may hear whispers or footsteps, feel pressure on their beds, or witness figures vanish before their eyes. For those who spend time within its historic walls, the hotel becomes a living archive of human presence and memory, a place where the energy of the past continues to interact with the present, leaving visitors both captivated and unsettled by the enduring mysteries that inhabit the Royal Park Hotel. With its towering ceilings, ornate chandeliers, and expansive dance floors, the ballroom has been the site of countless weddings, galas, and social events since the hotel opened in 1926. While it is celebrated for its elegance and historical significance, the ballroom is also infamous for a series of paranormal phenomena that continue to intrigue visitors, staff, and paranormal investigators alike. Guests and employees alike have reported hearing ghostly music echoing across the hall, doors slamming without cause, and waking with scratches along their arms or legs. Shadowy figures are often seen lingering near the windows, adding an unsettling layer to the ballroom's opulent charm. Many of the reported hauntings in the Biltmore Ballroom center around auditory experiences. The music often sounds like a soft waltz or classical composition, reminiscent of the dances and social events that once filled the hall with life. These phantom notes are often accompanied by other sounds: a soft shuffle of feet across the polished floor, whispered conversations, or the creak of the grand doors, which create an immersive experience where past and present seem to converge. Doors are another focal point of the ballroom's paranormal activity. Several guests and staff members have reported hearing doors slam suddenly, even in the absence of wind or human presence. These occurrences are often concentrated around the larger entranceways or near the ballroom's private balconies, which offer sweeping views of Coral Gables. Some visitors have also felt a subtle push or pressure as they approach the doors, as if an unseen hand were guiding or preventing movement. Some report the sensation of being lightly touched or pressed upon during the night, often while lying on chairs or benches that have been unoccupied for hours. These phenomena rarely result in injury, yet they leave a vivid impression that something unseen has interacted directly with the living. Staff members have also noted objects shifting slightly or chairs moving without explanation, as if invisible guests were taking their place on the dance floor. These figures are typically human in form but lack distinct features, sometimes appearing dressed in period attire, reminiscent of the early 20th century. Witnesses describe them standing silently, gazing outward, or moving slowly along the edges of the room before fading into the shadows. Some have seen multiple figures appearing simultaneously, as if a social gathering from decades past has been momentarily recreated by the spirits that linger in the space. These apparitions rarely approach guests, but their presence is unmistakable, creating a sensation that the ballroom is a living archive of its own history. Staff and visitors who experienced intense emotional moments in the ballroom may have contributed energy that now manifests as ghostly music, shadows, and physical sensations. Paranormal researchers suggest that locations with concentrated emotional activity often retain residual energy, resulting in repeated apparitions or unexplained phenomena. A visitor may hear phantom music drifting through the room, witness a shadowy figure near a window, feel a cold draft sweep past, and awaken with scratches along their arms, all during a single visit. Hallways leading to the ballroom often amplify these phenomena, as the echoes of footsteps, music, and voices carry farther than expected, blending with the architecture to create a fully immersive paranormal encounter. Visitors describe the experience as disorienting yet compelling, a place where the past seems to mingle with the present in tangible ways. The shadowy figures, phantom music, and unexplained scratches appear to replay moments from the past rather than pose an active threat. Guests often describe feelings of awe or quiet unease rather than outright fear, and many interpret the phenomena as a connection to the ballroom's long and storied history. The space becomes a bridge between eras, allowing the living to experience the presence of those who danced, celebrated, and worked in the hotel decades ago. The architecture of the ballroom further enhances its haunting qualities. Every corner of the ballroom seems to hold a memory, making even subtle phenomena, whether a whisper, a scratch, or a flicker of shadow, feel profoundly real. Cold drafts sweep through the room, adding an invisible presence that is felt more than seen. For those who spend time in the Biltmore Ballroom, the space is more than an architectural marvel or historic landmark. It is a living repository of memory, presence, and the lingering spirits that continue to move among its grand halls, silently bearing witness to the centuries of human experience that unfolded within its walls. The Don Caesar Hotel, known as the Pink Palace, towers over St. Pete Beach with its iconic rosy facade and grand Mediterranean-inspired architecture. Since its opening in 1928, it has been a symbol of luxury, elegance, and beachfront glamour. While the hotel attracts visitors seeking sun, sand, and opulent accommodations, the top-floor penthouse has earned a reputation for something far more unsettling. Guests who have stayed in the penthouse report intense ghostly activity that seems concentrated in this secluded space. Deep scratches on arms, legs, and torsos appear overnight without explanation. Faint whispers echo through the darkened rooms, and shadowy presences are often felt hovering just out of sight. The penthouse, with its sweeping views of the Gulf of Mexico, is as notorious for its paranormal energy as it is celebrated for its luxury. Many reports center on the tactile and physical experiences that occur in the penthouse. Guests have awakened to scratch-a-slong, shallow lines that appear suddenly on the skin without any recollection of self-infliction. Sometimes, the scratches are accompanied by the sensation of pressure on the bed, as if someone has been leaning over them, or the feeling of an unseen presence sitting beside them. In some cases, objects within the penthouse pillows, sheets, or small personal items are found displaced when the guest awakens, creating the impression that a ghostly hand has interacted with the environment. While these experiences rarely cause significant harm, they leave a lasting impression and a sense that the room itself is imbued with an active, unseen presence. Auditory phenomena also characterize the penthouse's hauntings. Many visitors report hearing faint whispers that seem to come from corners of the room or from behind closed doors. These whispers are often unintelligible at first, carrying an eerie quality that seems directed at the listener without any discernible source. Some guests have claimed to hear soft sighs, the rustle of movement across the floor, or the faint murmur of past conversations. Footsteps are reported to echo in the room, even when the floors are empty, and sometimes the whispers appear to follow the listener from one end of the penthouse to the other. The combination of sound and sensation creates a palpable tension, as if the room is alive with the memories of those who once walked its halls. Visual experiences, though less frequently reported, add a striking dimension to the penthouse's reputation. Shadowy forms are sometimes glimpsed at the edge of vision, near the windows or along the walls. These figures are typically indistinct in shape but human-like, appearing in fleeting moments before disappearing when directly observed. Some guests have described seeing shapes that seem to drift across the floor or hover near the bed, only to vanish when approached. Occasionally, the figures appear to be dressed in vintage attire, echoing the fashion of the early 20th century, as though the room retains a replay of its past occupants. These visual phenomena, combined with tactile and auditory experiences, make the penthouse a highly active and layered site of haunting. The penthouse's location within the hotel may contribute to its concentration of paranormal activity. As the top-floor suite, it occupies a relatively isolated space, removed from the flow of guests and daily operations below. The seclusion, combined with the sweeping views of the Gulf and expansive windows, creates an environment where unseen presences can manifest with a heightened sense of intimacy. Many paranormal experts suggest that residual energy often accumulates in areas of emotional intensity or seclusion, where past events, human interactions, and strong feelings have left an imprint. The penthouse, historically reserved for notable guests and special occasions, is a prime candidate for such residual energy. Given the heightened emotions associated with luxury, celebration, and personal milestones, guests frequently report multiple forms of activity in a single night. A visitor might awaken to deep scratches on their arm, feel an unseen weight pressing against the bed, hear faint whispers in the dark, and glimpse a shadow moving near the balcony, all within a few hours. These overlapping sensations create a deeply immersive experience, in which the boundaries between the living and the spectral feel blurred. The combination of tactile, auditory, and visual phenomena reinforces the impression that the penthouse is more than just a space within a hotel. It is a living archive of past presence, replaying moments of life and emotion from decades ago. Despite the intensity of these experiences, the spirits in the Don Caesar penthouse are rarely described as overtly malevolent. Guests often report feelings of unease, surprise, or curiosity rather than outright fear. The scratches, whispers, and shadowy forms appear more like echoes of past activity than intentional attacks. Some interpret these manifestations as a connection to the hotel's history, a reminder that the building has hosted countless lives, celebrations, and private moments over nearly a century. In this sense, the haunting becomes a link between past and present, a living testimony to the hotel's rich and layered history. The architecture and design of the penthouse further enhanced the sense of haunting. High ceilings, expansive windows, and reflective surfaces create spaces where shadows can stretch, sounds can resonate, and visual illusions can appear strikingly real. The ocean breeze and ambient sounds from the beach below may subtly amplify creaks, whispers, or faint movements, adding to the impression that something unseen is present. Even the furniture, mirrors, and decorative elements contribute to the layering of sensory experiences, making the penthouse a uniquely active site for paranormal encounters. The Don Caesar penthouse on St. Pete Beach remains a coveted destination for those seeking luxury and a breathtaking view of the Gulf of Mexico, yet it is equally known for its intense and unexplained activity. Guests report waking with deep scratches along their bodies, hearing faint whispers in the darkness, and witnessing shadowy forms drifting through the suite. Cold spots, subtle pressure, and displaced objects all contribute to the feeling of a space that is alive with the echoes of its past. For those who stay in the penthouse, the Don Caesar is more than a hotel. It is a place where history lingers, memory persists, and the spirits of former guests continue to occupy the suite, silently observing and replaying the moments of lives long gone. The Hotel Galvez in Galveston, Texas, is a landmark of historical grandeur. Perched along the Gulf Coast with its elegant architecture, sweeping verandas, and stately design. Since opening in 1911, the hotel has been a haven for travelers seeking comfort, luxury, and a connection to the city's storied past. Over the years, it has hosted countless events, social gatherings, and personal milestones. Yet beyond its charm and refinement lies a darker, more mysterious side. Certain rooms, particularly those with historical significance, are known for paranormal activity that has intrigued and unsettled visitors for decades. Guests report shadowy apparitions lingering in corners, cold spots that appear without explanation, and waking to scratches on their arms, legs, or shoulders. Many describe the chilling sensation of a presence beside them in bed, unseen yet unmistakably there. The Hotel Galvez is not just a monument to history, it is a place where the echoes of the past remain palpably present. Many accounts of ghostly activity originate in the hotel's older suites, particularly those that have preserved original architectural features and furnishings. Guests have described seeing shadowy figures move silently across the rooms, often at the edge of vision. These figures are typically human in form but indistinct, sometimes appearing to wear period attire that suggests they are remnants of guests or staff from decades past. Witnesses often report feeling watched as these apparitions drift across the room or linger near windows and doors. Some describe the figures as pausing for a moment, as if acknowledging the living presence, before disappearing suddenly, leaving only a lingering chill in their wake. The visual manifestations, though fleeting, are vivid and unsettling, reinforcing the sense that the hotel's past continues to coexist with the present. Auditory phenomena often accompany these sightings, adding a layered dimension to the experiences. Guests report hearing footsteps pacing quietly across the floorboards, or soft whispers that seem to emanate from corners of the room. Some have heard doors creak open or close without any wind or human interference, and the faint sounds of conversation or laughter have been reported in suites long after the hotel's events have ended for the day. In several instances, the sounds seem directed toward the guest, forming fragmented phrases or unintelligible murmurs that create the impression of presence without visibility. Echoes in the hotel's high ceilings and long corridors may amplify these noises, making them seem closer or more pronounced than they should be, enhancing the sense of an unseen observer. Physical manifestations are among the most alarming aspects of the Galvez's hauntings. Guests have reported waking to scratches along their arms, legs, or shoulders, often in patterns that appear deliberate, yet leave no sign of injury from any object or sound. Some describe the sensation of weight pressing on the bed beside them, or a presence brushing lightly against their skin as they sleep. Sheets may be twisted or displaced, and personal items subtly moved, suggesting interaction by unseen hands. While such experiences rarely cause physical harm, they leave a lasting impression on visitors, creating a sense of vulnerability and a heightened awareness of the paranormal. Cold spots are another recurring element in the Hotel Galvez suites. Guests report sudden chills that pass through the room inexplicably, sometimes concentrated near the bed, windows, or corners of the room. These cold drafts can appear without warning and vanish just as quickly, often coinciding with the perception of a nearby presence or shadow. The combination of cold air, visual phenomena, and auditory cues contributes to a deeply immersive and sometimes unnerving experience, making it clear to visitors that the hotel is a space where the past is vividly alive. The historical significance of the rooms is a key factor in their haunting reputation. Many of the most active suites have witnessed decades of human activity, from joyous celebrations and romantic encounters to moments of sorrow and tragedy. Paranormal researchers suggest that locations imbued with strong emotions over long periods often retain residual energy, which can manifest as visual, auditory, or tactile phenomena. The Hotel Galvez, with its long and eventful history, is a prime candidate for such lingering presences. The top suites, in particular, may have hosted influential figures, private meetings, and emotionally charged events, further concentrating energy that now seems to replay in ghostly form. Overlapping experiences are common among those who stay in these historically significant suites. These experiences create a layered sense of haunting, where multiple senses perceive the presence of the unseen simultaneously. The architecture of the hotel amplifies these encounters, with high ceilings, polished floors, and reflective surfaces allowing shadows to stretch, sounds to carry, and glimpses of apparitions to appear fleetingly yet vividly. Despite the intensity of these paranormal occurrences, the spirits in the Hotel Galvez are rarely described as hostile. The shadowy figures, whispers, and physical sensations often appear as residual echoes rather than deliberate attempts to harm. Guests generally experience unease, curiosity, or mild fear rather than violent aggression. The phenomena are often interpreted as a connection to the hotel's storied past, a reminder that the building is not merely a static structure but a repository of countless human lives, events, and memories. In this sense, the haunting becomes a bridge between past and present, allowing visitors to engage with history in an intimate and unforgettable way. The design and layout of the suites further enhance the sense of haunting. Expansive windows, high ceilings, and reflective surfaces create spaces where shadows stretch and sounds resonate dramatically. Even subtle environmental factors, the hum of the Gulf breeze, shifting air currents, and the distant sounds of waves can amplify whispers, footsteps, or creaks. Every architectural detail, from crown moldings to wooden floors, contributes to an environment where visual, auditory, and tactile phenomena feel tangible and immediate. The Hotel Galvez Suites in Galveston remain a destination of historical significance and luxury. Yet, they are also a focal point for unexplained activity. Shadowy figures drift through rooms, cold spots sweep across suites, whispers echo in the night, and guests awaken with scratches on their arms or legs. The presence of the unseen is palpable, creating a layered, immersive experience where past and present collide. For those who spend time in these suites, the Hotel Galvez is more than a beautiful hotel. It is a living monument to memory, history, and the lingering spirits that continue to occupy its halls, silently observing and interacting with the living in ways that defy explanation. The Casa Monica Hotel in St. Augustine, Florida, is a historic landmark that has stood as a testament to the city's rich past since its opening in 1888. With its grand Spanish Revival architecture, ornate interiors, and elegant hallways, it has long attracted travelers seeking both comfort and a sense of history. Yet among the hotel's beautifully preserved rooms and corridors, there exists a darker, more mysterious side that has become the subject of numerous reports over the decades. Guests staying in the historic rooms often recount experiences of ghostly activity, including phantom footsteps echoing through empty hallways, objects moving inexplicably, and waking to scratches along their arms, legs, or shoulders. The Casa Monica historic rooms are more than a destination for luxury. They are a place where the past seems to linger, replaying itself in eerie and unforgettable ways. Many reports of paranormal activity in the historic rooms involve the sensation of movement or presence. Guests frequently describe hearing footsteps that echo through the hallways, often at odd hours when the hotel is quiet. These sounds sometimes appear to follow them as they move through corridors, vanishing abruptly when investigated. The footsteps are often accompanied by other auditory phenomena, soft murmurs, the creaking of floorboards, or the faint whisper of voices just beyond comprehension. Visitors sometimes hear these sounds emanating from rooms that are unoccupied, creating the unmistakable impression that the hotel is alive with invisible occupants. The echoes of past activity are said to be particularly strong in suites that retain original furnishings and architectural details, where the energy of previous guests and staff seems to be concentrated. Visual sightings are another common element of the haunting at Casa Monica. Shadowy figures are sometimes seen in hallways, peering from corners, or lingering near windows. These figures are often described as human in form, but indistinct in features, fading quickly when observed directly. In the rooms themselves, guests have reported seeing fleeting apparitions moving across the floor, disappearing into walls, or vanishing just before they are fully recognized. Some of the shadowy forms appear to wear clothing reminiscent of earlier decades, suggesting that the spirits may be former guests or staff replaying moments of their lives within the hotel. The combination of visual phenomena with auditory cues intensifies the sensation of encountering presences that exist beyond the boundaries of the physical world. Physical manifestations are among the most unsettling experiences reported in the Casa Monica historic rooms. Guests often awaken to find scratches along their arms, legs, or shoulders, appearing without warning or clear cause. In addition to scratches, some visitors describe feeling sudden pressure on the bed, the sensation of being watched, or the light touch of an unseen hand. Objects within the room, books, glasses, or small personal items may be displaced overnight, seemingly moved without human intervention. While these experiences rarely result in harm, they leave a lasting impression and a sense of vulnerability, reminding visitors that the historic rooms are spaces where the past continues to interact with the present. Cold spots are another recurring feature of the hauntings. Guests report sudden chills that sweep through a room, often localized near beds, windows, or corners. These cold drafts appear without warning and sometimes coincide with the perception of a nearby presence. The sensation of cold, paired with auditory and visual phenomena, creates a fully immersive paranormal experience, in which multiple senses detect the presence of something unseen. Hallways leading to the historic rooms often amplify these experiences. as echoes of footsteps and murmurs reverberate off high ceilings and polished floors, making the phenomena feel even more pronounced. The history of the Casa Monica Hotel provides context for these paranormal occurrences. Over its long existence, the hotel has witnessed countless human interactions, from joyous celebrations to private tragedies. Weddings, social gatherings, and important personal events have all taken place within its halls, leaving emotional imprints that may persist to this day. Paranormal researchers often note that locations imbued with intense human emotion over long periods can retain residual energy, manifesting as ghostly activity, strange sounds, or physical sensations. The Casa Monica's historic rooms, with their preserved architecture and rich history, serve as a focal point for such lingering energy, allowing the past to echo in vivid ways for modern visitors. Many guests report experiencing overlapping paranormal events. A single night may include phantom footsteps in the corridor, glimpses of shadowy figures, cold drafts, whispers, and even objects moving on their own. The layering of these sensory experiences creates a multi-dimensional haunting, where the presence of the past feels immediate and tangible. The design of the hotel enhances these effects. High ceilings, polished floors, and reflective surfaces allow shadows to stretch, sounds to carry, and fleeting apparitions to appear convincingly real. Despite the intensity of the reported phenomena, the spirits in Casa Monica are rarely described as overtly hostile. Guests often report unease, curiosity, or a heightened sense of awareness rather than fear or danger. The scratches, whispers, and movements appear more like echoes of past activity than intentional attacks, as if the spirits are replaying moments from their previous lives rather than interacting aggressively with the living. This interpretation allows visitors to experience the haunting as a connection to the hotel's rich history, a tangible link between the present and the echoes of generations long past. The architecture of the historic rooms further contributes to their haunted atmosphere. Expansive windows, high ceilings, and intricate moldings create spaces where shadows can stretch and sounds can resonate dramatically. Even subtle environmental factors, the Gulf breeze, the ambient city sounds, or shifting air currents may enhance the perception of presence. Every architectural detail, from ornate furniture to original wood floors, plays a role in creating an environment where auditory, visual, and tactile phenomena feel vivid and convincing. The Casa Monica historic rooms in St. Augustine remain a destination of elegance and historical significance. Yet they are also a site of unexplained activity that continues to fascinate visitors. Shadowy figures drift through hallways, cold spots sweep across rooms, whispers echo in the night, and guests awaken with scratches on their arms or legs. Objects move without explanation, and the presence of the unseen is palpably felt throughout the hotel. For those who stay in these rooms, Casa Monica offers more than luxury or history. It provides a direct and immersive connection to the past, where lingering spirits continue to occupy the space, silently observing and replaying moments of lives long gone, leaving an indelible mark on all who enter. The Ritz-Carlton in Sarasota, Florida, is renowned for its luxurious accommodations. Sweeping views of Sarasota Bay and sophisticated design. Among its many exquisite suites, the penthouse stands out not only for its opulent furnishings and panoramic vistas, but also for a reputation that sets it apart in the world of paranormal intrigue. Guests who have stayed in the penthouse have reported unusual and unsettling experiences, including the appearance of shadowy figures, whispers in the night, and waking to scratches along their arms, legs, or shoulders. Some describe the chilling sensation of invisible hands tracing across their skin, as if unseen presences are moving in the darkness alongside them. The penthouse, perched at the top of the hotel, offers both luxury and a haunting intimacy, creating an environment where the past and the paranormal seem to converge. Reports of ghostly activity often begin with auditory phenomena. Guests frequently describe hearing whispers that seem to come from the corners of the penthouse or from behind closed doors. These murmurs are often unintelligible, faint, and fleeting, creating a sense that someone or something is present, but just beyond perception. The whispers sometimes resemble fragments of conversations, as if echoing moments from decades past. Footsteps on the polished floors are also common, heard pacing in slow, deliberate patterns. Though no living person can be found when guests investigate, these sounds create a feeling of being observed, as if the penthouse itself is alive with the echoes of its former occupants. Visual manifestations accompany these auditory experiences in many reports. Shadowy figures are occasionally seen moving near the windows or along the edges of the penthouse. Witnesses often describe the forms as vaguely human, indistinct in detail, but unmistakably present. Some figures appear to be dressed in clothing reminiscent of earlier decades, suggesting a connection to past guests or staff who frequented the space. Guests have reported seeing these apparitions hovering briefly, watching silently, or walking slowly across the room before vanishing into walls or corners. These fleeting images leave a lingering impression, reinforcing the sense that the penthouse is a place where the line between past and present is blurred. Physical interactions are among the most striking and alarming aspects of the penthouse hauntings. Guests often awaken with scratches on their arms, legs, or shoulders, lines that appear without any clear cause. In some cases, the scratches are accompanied by the sensation of weight on the bed, or the feeling of invisible hands moving lightly across the skin. Pillows, sheets, and other personal items may be displaced overnight, suggesting interaction by unseen forces. While these experiences rarely result in injury, they leave a profound psychological impact, heightening awareness of the penthouse as a space where the paranormal is tangible and real. The concentration of activity in the penthouse may be influenced by its location and history. As the top floor suite, it is relatively secluded from the daily flow of guests and staff, creating an intimate and isolated environment. This seclusion, combined with large windows and sweeping views of the bay, may enhance the impression of being observed by unseen entities. Paranormal researchers suggest that locations imbued with intense human emotion or significant events often retain residual energy, which can manifest as auditory, visual, or tactile phenomena. The penthouse, reserved for high-profile guests and special occasions, may have accumulated strong emotional energy over time, which now surfaces in the form of ghostly activity. Guests frequently report multiple types of activity in a single night. A visitor may hear faint whispers, feel cold drafts sweep across the room, see shadowy figures moving near the windows, and awaken with scratches on their body, all within hours. The layering of auditory, visual, and physical phenomena creates a multi-sensory experience that is both immersive and unsettling. The architecture of the penthouse amplifies these experiences. High ceilings, reflective surfaces, and expansive windows allow sounds to carry, shadows to stretch, and fleeting images to appear vividly, enhancing the overall sense of haunting. Despite the intensity of the reported phenomena, the spirits in the Ritz-Carlton penthouse are rarely described as hostile. Guests often report feelings of unease, anxiety, or curiosity rather than outright fear. The whispers, shadows, and scratches are generally interpreted as residual echoes rather than deliberate attempts to harm. Many visitors see the activity as a connection to the hotel's history, a tangible link to the lives and experiences of previous occupants. The penthouse becomes a space where the past is not forgotten but is instead present in ways that are at once mysterious, intimate, and unforgettable. The gentle Gulf breeze, ambient night sounds, and subtle shifts in air pressure can amplify the perception of movement or presence. Reflections from polished floors, mirrors, and windows can create fleeting illusions of figures where none exist. While the acoustics of high ceilings and expansive rooms allow whispers and footsteps to echo unnaturally, these architectural and environmental elements combine to create an atmosphere that is perfectly suited to the perception of paranormal activity. The Ritz-Carlton penthouse in Sarasota remains a symbol of elegance, luxury, and breathtaking views. yet it is equally recognized for its intense and unexplained activity. Guests report waking to scratches on their arms or legs, hearing faint whispers, feeling invisible hands brushing across their skin, and glimpsing shadowy figures drifting silently through the room. Cold drafts, displaced objects, and auditory phenomena create a sense of immersion in the unseen, allowing visitors to experience the presence of those who have long departed. For those who stay in the penthouse, the Ritz-Carlton is more than a hotel suite. It's a living repository of memory, emotion, and lingering spirits, where the past continues to occupy the space alongside the present, silently observing and interacting with the living in ways that defy explanation. The Whitehall Hotel in Palm Beach, Florida, is a historic landmark known for its elegance, refined architecture, and rich history. Since its opening, the hotel has hosted countless guests seeking luxury, comfort, and the charm of Palm Beach's coastal allure. Yet among the lavish suites and meticulously designed interiors, there are certain rooms that carry a reputation far beyond luxury. The Whitehall Suites, particularly those with historical significance, are notorious for unexplained paranormal activity. Guests have reported waking to scratches on their arms, legs, or shoulders, sensing unseen presences watching from the corners of the room, and hearing faint whispers that seem to come from nowhere. The experiences in these suites create an atmosphere in which the past is not only remembered, but continues to inhabit the space in tangible, unsettling ways. Auditory phenomena are among the most frequently reported experiences in the Whitehall Suites. Guests often describe hearing faint whispers that appear to emanate from corners, behind doors, or along hallways. These murmurs are unintelligible at first, sometimes seeming like fragmented conversations from decades past. The whispers often coincide with the perception of unseen presence, creating a sense that the room itself is alive with echoes of past events. Footsteps are also common. They are described as slow and deliberate, pacing through empty corridors or approaching the suites in a pattern that feels purposeful yet unexplained. Even in moments of silence, some visitors report hearing the subtle creak of floorboards or the soft rustle of movement, though no one is there. These auditory cues heighten the sense of being watched and establish a profound connection to the hotel's layered history. Visual manifestations add another chilling dimension to the reported activity. Shadowy figures are sometimes glimpsed in peripheral vision, standing near windows, lingering in corners, or drifting silently across the room. Many witnesses describe the shapes as vaguely human, but indistinct in detail, vanishing the moment they attempt direct observation. Some apparitions appear dressed in vintage attire, suggesting they may be former guests or staff replaying moments from decades past. These fleeting figures, often seen at night or during early morning hours, create the impression that the Whitehall Suites are spaces where time overlaps, where echoes of the past intermingle with the present. Guests frequently awaken with scratches along their skin, long marks that appear without any clear cause. Some describe the sensation of unseen hands tracing along their arms, shoulders, or legs while they sleep. Pillows, sheets, and small personal items are sometimes found displaced or moved inexplicably overnight. In other cases, guests feel a sudden pressure on the bed, as if a presence has been sitting beside them. These interactions, though rarely harmful, leave a profound sense of unease and make clear that the Whitehall Suites are not merely historically significant, but also sites of active and lingering energy. Cold spots are another hallmark of the suite's paranormal activity. Guests often experience sudden chills in specific areas of the room near the bed, by windows, or in corners without any apparent source. These cold spots often coincide with the perception of a nearby presence or shadow, enhancing the sensation that someone or something unseen is watching. Even in warm weather or air-conditioned spaces, these inexplicable drafts can feel piercingly cold, reinforcing the eerie atmosphere that seems to permeate the suites. The history of the Whitehall Hotel provides insight into why certain suites might be hotspots for paranormal activity. Over its long existence, the hotel has witnessed countless events, from grand social gatherings to private personal moments, many filled with intense emotion. Weddings, celebrations, and even moments of sorrow have all taken place within the halls, leaving behind what paranormal researchers refer to as residual energy. The layering of visual, auditory, and tactile experiences intensifies the haunting, making the presence of the unseen feel immediate and inescapable. Architectural features, such as high ceilings, polished floors, and reflective surfaces amplify these phenomena, allowing shadows to stretch, sounds to carry, and apparitions to appear convincingly real. Despite the intensity of the reported experiences, the entities in the Whitehall suites are rarely described as hostile. Guests often feel unease, curiosity, or heightened awareness rather than fear or danger. The scratches, whispers, and fleeting shadows appear more like echoes or imprints of the past than deliberate attacks, suggesting that the spirits may be replaying memories or observing the living rather than intending harm. Many visitors interpret these experiences as a connection to the hotel's history, a tangible link to the lives and emotions of those who stayed in the suites long ago. Environmental factors may also enhance the perception of paranormal activity. Shifting air currents, gulf breezes, distant street sounds, and the acoustics of high ceilings can all contribute to the amplification of whispers, footsteps, and cold drafts. Mirrors and reflective surfaces may catch glimpses of movement that vanish when approached, and shadows cast by furniture or architectural details may appear animated in dim lighting. The Whitehall Suites in Palm Beach continue to be sought after for their luxury, historical significance, and spectacular views. Yet they are equally known for their paranormal activity. Guests report waking to scratches on their skin, hearing whispers and footsteps, feeling unseen hands brushing across them, and glimpsing shadowy figures in the corners of the room. Cold spots, moving objects, and layered sensory phenomena create an environment in which the past is vividly alive. For those who stay in the Whitehall Suites, the hotel offers more than comfort and elegance. It provides a rare and immersive connection to history, where lingering spirits continue to occupy the space, observing and interacting with the living in ways that remain unexplained and unforgettable. The shapes are most often seen at night, when darkness stretches across the ocean and the room is illuminated only by moonlight or the faint glow of distant streetlights. The experience leaves a lasting impression, a sense that the room itself is alive with memories and presences that refuse to fade. Auditory phenomena accompany these visual encounters in many accounts. Guests report hearing whispers that seem to drift from nowhere, sometimes forming incomplete words or fragmented sentences. These murmurs often follow the guest throughout the day, lingering in hallways or echoing faintly as they move through the room. Footsteps are also a recurring phenomenon, slow, deliberate, and echoing across polished floors or along corridors outside the room. Often, guests cannot locate the source, adding to the impression that unseen entities are moving alongside them. Even the quietest moments can carry these sounds, creating an unsettling awareness of the past intersecting with the present. Physical manifestations are particularly striking in the breakers' ocean view rooms. Guests frequently awaken to find scratches along their arms, legs, or shoulders, lines that appear without any clear cause. Some describe the sensation of unseen hands tracing across their skin while they sleep, a light touch that is tangible yet without origin. Pillows, sheets, and personal items are sometimes found displaced or moved overnight, suggesting interaction by unseen forces. In other cases, sudden cold spots sweep across the room, sometimes localized near the bed or windows, reinforcing the sense that someone or something is present, even when the room is otherwise empty. These phenomena leave guests with a heightened awareness of the paranormal and a lingering sense of unease. The history of the Breakers Hotel provides context for these mysterious occurrences. Since its opening in the late 19th century, the hotel has hosted countless events, social gatherings, and personal milestones, from weddings and grand galas to moments of tragedy and loss. A guest may see a shadowy figure at the window, hear whispers from corners, feel a cold draft brush past, and awaken to scratches on their skin all in a single night. The layering of auditory, visual, and physical phenomena creates an immersive experience in which the presence of the unseen feels immediate and undeniable. Architectural features of the ocean view, rooms' high ceilings, reflective surfaces, and expansive glass windows enhance these effects. Shadows stretch unnaturally, whispers carry across rooms, and fleeting figures appear vividly in peripheral vision, amplifying the sensation of haunting. Despite the intensity of these experiences, the entities in the Breakers' ocean view rooms are rarely described as malevolent. Guests often experience feelings of unease, heightened awareness, or curiosity rather than outright fear. The scratches, whispers, and shadowy forms appear more like echoes of past occupants than deliberate attempts to harm. Many visitors interpret the phenomena as a connection to the hotel's storied past, a tangible link to the lives, joys, and sorrows of generations who have passed through these rooms. In this way, the haunting becomes a reminder that history is not merely recorded in architecture or archives, but in energy and memory that linger long after those moments have passed. Environmental factors may also contribute to the perception of paranormal activity. The Gulf breeze, ambient sounds of the ocean, shifting light from the sun or moon, and reflective surfaces can all enhance the experience of presence. Even subtle architectural details, such as polished floors, ornate furnishings, and high ceilings, allow sounds to carry and shadows to form in ways that make apparitions appear tangible. These conditions, combined with the emotional resonance of the historic suites, create a setting uniquely conducive to experiences of the unexplained. The Breakers Ocean View Rooms in Palm Beach remain a destination of elegance, luxury, and breathtaking natural beauty. Yet for those who spend the night, the hotel is more than a place of comfort. Shadowy figures drift along windows and walls. Whispers follow guests through hallways. Cold drafts sweep across the rooms, and scratches appear mysteriously on the skin. Objects move inexplicably, and the sensation of being watched is a constant companion. For visitors, The Breakers offers a rare encounter with the past made tangible, where lingering spirits occupy the space, silently observing, replaying moments, and interacting with the living in ways that remain unsettling, unforgettable, and unexplained. The Biltmore Hotel in Coral Gables, Florida, is a historic landmark, celebrated for its opulent architecture, luxurious accommodations, and sprawling grounds. Since its opening in 1926, the hotel has hosted a variety of distinguished guests, high-profile events, and countless celebrations, earning a reputation as one of Florida's most prestigious destinations. Yet beyond its grandeur and elegance lies a darker, more mysterious side. The Biltmore Historic Wing, in particular, has long been associated with reports of paranormal activity. Guests staying in this section often recount unsettling experiences, waking with scratches on their arms or legs, hearing footsteps and whispers in empty corridors, and seeing shadowy figures that vanish the instant they are noticed. The historic wing, with its preserved architectural details and long corridors, is a space where the past seems to linger, and the line between the living and the spirits of the past becomes blurred. Auditory phenomena are among the most commonly reported experiences in the historic wing. Guests frequently describe hearing footsteps echoing down hallways when no one else is present. These footsteps are often slow, deliberate, and rhythmic, sometimes approaching rooms or retreating just as suddenly, leaving no trace of a visitor. Whispering voices are another recurring element. Soft murmurs float through the corridors, occasionally forming indistinct words that are impossible to decipher. These sounds create a sense of presence, as if unseen entities are moving alongside the living, observing their every action. Even during the quietest hours of the night, the wing seems alive with residual echoes of activity, giving the impression that time itself is layered within the walls. Visual manifestations add another chilling dimension to the Biltmore Historic Wing. Guests have reported seeing shadowy figures roaming the halls, often disappearing instantly when approached. Some of these apparitions appear vaguely human, their outlines suggestive of former staff or guests, while others are merely shifting shadows that defy explanation. Many witnesses describe seeing the figures dressed in period attire, hinting at a connection to the hotel's early days. These fleeting glimpses are often accompanied by the sensation of being watched, as though the spirits are silently observing the living, maintaining their presence in the spaces they once inhabited. Hallways, with their high ceilings, polished floors, and ornate details, seem to amplify these visual encounters, making the shadows appear to move with a life of their own. Physical interactions are among the most unsettling aspects of the reported haunting. Guests frequently awaken to discover scratches along their arms, shoulders, or legs, seemingly appearing without any cause. Some describe the sensation of invisible hands lightly tracing their skin while they sleep, leaving them with an acute awareness of being touched by something unseen. Objects may be displaced during the night pillows, blankets, or personal belongings shifted in ways that defy explanation. Cold drafts are also commonly reported, sometimes concentrated near beds, windows, or hallway doors, heightening the sense that a presence is nearby. These physical experiences, combined with auditory and visual phenomena, create a fully immersive environment where the supernatural feels tangible. The history of the Biltmore Hotel provides context for these extraordinary experiences. Over the decades, the hotel has witnessed countless events, from grand social gatherings to private tragedies. Weddings, galas, and celebrations have filled its halls with joy, while personal misfortunes, illnesses, and deaths have left behind moments of sorrow and emotional intensity. Paranormal researchers often suggest that locations with strong historical and emotional significance retain residual energy, which can manifest in the form of visual, auditory, or tactile phenomena. The historic wing, with its preserved architecture and long corridors may act as a conduit for this energy, allowing the past to echo through time and manifest for present-day guests. Many visitors report overlapping phenomena during a single stay. A guest may hear footsteps along the hallway, feel a cold draft sweep past the room, see a shadowy figure by the doorway, and awaken with scratches on their skin all within hours. This layering of sensory experiences creates a heightened sense of immersion in the haunting, where multiple dimensions of perception converge. The architectural design of the wing-high ceilings, long corridors, and reflective surfaces further enhances these effects, amplifying shadows, carrying sound, and creating an environment in which the paranormal feels immediate and undeniable. Despite the intensity of these experiences, the spirits of the Biltmore Historic Wing are rarely described as overtly hostile. Guests often report feelings of unease, heightened awareness, or curiosity rather than outright fear. The scratches, whispers, and fleeting shadows are usually interpreted as echoes or imprints of past activity rather than deliberate attempts to harm. Many visitors see these encounters as a connection to the hotel's long and storied history, a tangible link to the lives and experiences of those who once walked the halls. In this way, the haunting becomes less a source of terror and more a reminder of the hotel's enduring legacy, where past and present coexist in subtle, enigmatic ways. Environmental factors may also enhance the perception of paranormal activity in the wings. Shifting air currents, ambient sounds from the surrounding city, and the acoustics of the high-ceilinged corridors can amplify whispers, footsteps, and the sense of presence. Reflections in polished floors, mirrors, and windows may create fleeting illusions of movement, while shadows cast by architectural details can appear animated in dim lighting. Together, these elements create an atmosphere in which auditory, visual, and tactile experiences converge, making the unexplained seem vividly real. The Biltmore Historic Wing in Coral Gables remains a symbol of luxury, elegance, and historical significance, yet it is also a place where the past continues to linger. Guests report waking with scratches, hearing whispers and footsteps, feeling invisible hands tracing their skin, and seeing shadowy figures that vanish instantly. Cold drafts, displaced objects, and the sensation of being observed enhance the haunting, creating an environment in which the history of the hotel is alive and palpable. For those who spend the night in the historic wing, the Biltmore is not merely a place of comfort and prestige. It is a space where lingering spirits continue to inhabit the halls, silently observing, replaying moments of the past, and interacting with the living in ways that are at once mysterious, chilling, and unforgettable. The Don Caesar Hotel, famously known as the Pink Palace, stands as one of St. Pete Beach's most iconic landmarks. Its Mediterranean-inspired architecture and pastel facade, capturing the imagination of visitors for nearly a century. Built in 1928, the hotel has long been a symbol of luxury, sun-soaked leisure, and vibrant social gatherings. Yet beneath its glamorous exterior, the Don Caesar carries a reputation steeped in mystery and paranormal intrigue. Visitors have reported waking with unexplained scratches along their arms or legs, feeling as though unseen hands are holding theirs in the darkness, and observing shadowy figures gliding silently along the hallways. The beachfront rooms, with their proximity to the sand and surf, and their preserved vintage charm, seem to be a focal point for ghostly activity, where the past persists alongside the living. Many experiences in the beachfront rooms begin subtly, often with a sensation of being watched. These forms are often indistinct mere silhouettes that vanish when directly observed, but they are unmistakably human in shape. Some appear dressed in period clothing, hinting at long-gone guests or staff, frozen in a moment of time yet moving with intent. The fleeting nature of these apparitions adds to the unease, creating a sense of a world layered with both the living and the dead, coexisting in the same space. Footsteps are another recurring element, light, deliberate, and echoing in patterns that do not correspond to any living person. These sounds often coincide with the perception of movement, reinforcing the sensation that unseen entities are sharing the space. In some instances, they describe the sensation of invisible hands holding theirs, brushing lightly across their skin, or even tracing along their body as they sleep. Pillows and sheets may be found shifted or partially displaced in ways that suggest interaction by an unseen presence. Cold spots, sometimes concentrated near the bed or by windows, accompany these experiences, adding to the chilling atmosphere and reinforcing the sense that something is actively present, watching, or interacting. The history of the Dawn Caesar provides context for these encounters. Over its long existence, the hotel has been host to countless events, from high-profile social gatherings and weddings to private celebrations and moments of tragedy. Paranormal researchers often point to locations steeped in emotional energy and long histories of human activity as more prone to residual or active haunting. The beachfront rooms, many of which preserve original architectural features, furnishings, and layout, may be particularly susceptible. The accumulation of decades of intense human emotion, joy, sorrow, love, and loss appears to have left an imprint that occasionally manifests in physical, auditory, and visual phenomena. Many guests report overlapping experiences, creating a layered and immersive haunting. A visitor may see a shadowy figure drift past the hallway window, hear whispers along the corridor, feel a cold draft sweep across the room, and awaken to scratches on the skin all within a single night. This convergence of sensory experiences can make the presence of the unseen feel immediate and undeniable, heightening awareness of both the history and the spectral inhabitants of the hotel. The architectural features of the room's high ceilings, expansive windows, polished floors, and reflective surface amplify these effects. Shadows stretch, sounds carry, and fleeting shapes are often caught in peripheral vision, lending credibility to the reports. Despite the intensity of the phenomena, the spirits of the Dawn Caesar beachfront rooms are rarely described as overtly hostile. Guests often experience unease, tension, or heightened awareness rather than fear. The scratches, whispers, and shadows appear more like echoes of the past than deliberate attempts to harm. Some visitors interpret these encounters as a connection to the hotel's rich history, a tangible link to those who once lived, laughed, and perhaps suffered within its walls. The haunting, in this sense, is as much about witnessing history as it is about experiencing something unexplained. Environmental factors may enhance the perception of paranormal activity. Ocean breezes, distant sounds of waves, shifting moonlight, and the acoustics of large rooms and hallways all contribute to a heightened sense of presence. Reflections in mirrors or glass windows can create fleeting images that appear animated, while shadows cast by architectural features may seem to move independently. Occasionally, guests report hearing soft whispers, sometimes uttering fragmented words or faintly calling their names. These murmurs are subtle, almost imperceptible at first, yet impossible to ignore once recognized. The combination of footsteps and whispered voices creates an unnerving sense of presence, as though unseen residents are sharing the space and silently observing every action. Visual encounters further enhance the haunting of the historic floors. Shadowy figures have been seen moving along corridors or standing at the end of hallways. These forms are often indistinct, vague silhouettes that disappear when approached, leaving only the memory of their movement. Some guests have described glimpsing figures in period attire, suggesting they may be the lingering impressions of staff or guests from decades past. These apparitions are most commonly observed at night, when the hotel is quiet and the contrast between darkness and dim lighting makes the shadows seem more vivid. Hallways, with their high ceilings, ornate moldings, and polished floors, provide the perfect setting for these fleeting images, amplifying the perception of movement and presence. Physical manifestations are also reported by those who stay on the Royal Park historic floors. Guests frequently wake to find scratches along their arms, shoulders, or legs, appearing without explanation. Some report the sensation of an invisible hand brushing across their skin, or even gripping their hand briefly in the darkness. Pillows, sheets, and personal belongings are sometimes found displaced in ways that suggest interaction by an unseen force. Cold drafts occasionally sweep through the rooms, focused near the bed or doorways, reinforcing the sense that something unseen is present. These tactile experiences, combined with auditory and visual phenomena, create an immersive environment in which the presence of the past feels immediate and undeniable. The Roosevelt Hotel in Jacksonville, Florida, is a landmark steeped in history and elegance. Built in the early 20th century, it quickly became a symbol of luxury and prestige, hosting dignitaries, socialites, and travelers seeking refined accommodations. Yet behind its grand facade and opulent interiors lies a darker story, one whispered among visitors and staff alike. The historic rooms of the Roosevelt have long carried a reputation for paranormal activity, drawing both curious travelers and those interested in the unexplained. Shadowy figures roam the corridors, guests awaken with mysterious scratches on their skin, and whispers echo through empty rooms. Many who have stayed in the hotel claim to have felt the presence of spirits replaying tragedies of the past, lingering within the walls as if time itself were frozen in moments of sorrow, loss, or despair. Visitors often report the first signs of haunting as subtle and easily dismissed. A cold draft drifts through the room even when windows are closed, or the faint creak of footsteps echoes along the polished corridors. Some describe the sensation of being watched, a quiet awareness of another presence nearby. It is in the historic rooms that these encounters intensify. Guests speak of waking suddenly in the night, feeling as though an unseen hand has brushed across their arms or shoulders. Unexplained scratches sometimes appear along the skin, as if invisible fingers reached out in the darkness. While these occurrences are brief, their persistence across multiple reports has cemented the Roosevelt's reputation as a haunted location. Auditory phenomena are among the most commonly reported experiences. Whispered voices float through the air, sometimes calling a guest's name or repeating fragments of words that are impossible to interpret. These whispers often appear to originate from nowhere, echoing through hallways and rooms with a clarity that is unsettling in its specificity. Footsteps, too, are reported frequently, slow and deliberate, crossing the room or pacing along corridors. The combination of whispered speech and phantom steps creates a multi-sensory experience, reinforcing the impression of active presence and continuous observation. Visual phenomena are equally striking. Guests have described shadowy figures moving along hallways, standing at the foot of the bed, or disappearing around corners just as they are approached. Some witnesses report seeing faces in mirrors that vanish when they blink, or fleeting images in the corner of the eye that vanish when looked at directly. Physical interactions extend beyond scratches. Many guests feel the sensation of invisible hands holding theirs, lightly tracing along their arms or brushing across their shoulders as they sleep. Objects in rooms may shift slightly or be found out of place, contributing to the sense that unseen occupants are not only present but actively engaged with their surroundings. Cold spots often accompany these experiences, localized areas of inexplicable chill that heighten the awareness of something intangible nearby. Over the decades, the hotel has been the site of countless events, celebrations of love, moments of triumph, as well as personal tragedies and unrecorded sorrow. Researchers of paranormal activity suggest that environments rich with emotional energy are more likely to retain residual impressions of the past. Shadowy figures roam the halls, whispering voices carry through empty rooms, and guests awaken with unexplained scratches or the sensation of invisible touch. Cold drafts, shifting objects, and fleeting visual phenomena contribute to an atmosphere where history, memory, and lingering spirits converge. For those who spend the night in the historic rooms, the Roosevelt is not just a hotel, it is a living archive of human emotion, where tragedies, joys, and ordinary moments are replayed again and again, leaving behind a haunting presence that is as chilling as it is unforgettable. These are the haunted hotels of Florida, where ghostly guests roam the halls. Scratches appear mysteriously, and shadows linger long after checkout. Each hotel tells a story of sorrow, tragedy, and restless spirits that refuse to leave. If you ever find yourself in one of these historic hotels, be careful where you sleep. Shadows may move in the corner of your eye, whispers may brush past your ears, and scratches may appear on your skin for no reason. The dead may not check out, but they certainly never leave. Thank you for walking through Florida's haunted hotels with me. Stay cautious, stay curious, and always respect the spirits who wander the halls long after their final stay.